Welcome to live horse racing coverage here on Fox Sports 2. I'm Greg Wolf. As we continue to adjust to the changes in our everyday lives with the onset of the coronavirus, as most of you know, the majority of the sports world is on hold. We are in a unique situation with horse racing, however, still able to compete, but with no fans in attendance. We feel very fortunate to be able to bring you the races while so many other areas of life have been impacted. We hope to be able to continue to do so, and that soon fans across the country can return to racetracks and that life can continue and go back to normal as soon as this virus is contained. In the meantime, we hope you enjoy our coverage and for spending part of your Sunday with us here on America's Day at the Races. Next, on America's Day at the Races, Silly Key is already a stakes winner for trainer Linda Rice. Can he add the Damon Runyon to his resume next? Nadal held serve in Hot Springs, giving Bob Baffert a 7th win in the Rebel Stakes. Where does he fit into the Derby picture? And Serengeti Empress said, "Come and get me," in the Azeri and ran away with a 6 1/4 length victory. A look back at her impressive gate-to-wire score and what lies ahead for her and trainer Tom Amis. Welcome to our show. It is brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Great to have you with us here on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. We are living through an unprecedented time, and we will all get through this together. In the meantime, we hope you enjoyed our program yesterday. We had some incredible racing. Saw a couple of, certainly one key contender for the Kentucky Derby, which we will talk about, Nadal's performance in the Rebel Stakes. But joining me here in studio, Hall of Famer Gary Stevens. We have racing today from Oaklawn Park, from Aqueduct, and from Tampa Bay. But yesterday, really the first true day that we saw on our show with racing taking place with no one in the stands, a little surreal.
It was very surreal. Walking through the grandstand into the studio yesterday in this empty building, grandstands, empty seats everywhere, and quietness. And it was just a different feeling. Got in the studio and the races, our show started up. We saw some exciting races, and I think we're going to bring some more to all you folks that are watching today.
And we had a chance to talk to Hall of Famer and your good friend Mike Smith as well, talking about competing under these circumstances, and it seems really like things just do not change, move forward, and that focus that you have to have as a rider stays exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, when you're riding at the caliber of races that we were watching yesterday and we're watching today at the highest level, it's pretty easy to get focused, I would imagine, when you're going out there. It's a lot like when you work in your big horse in the morning that is going towards a big race a week later, and you know it's their final work. You're very focused for that. There's no fans up in the grandstand then, so I think these guys, they're the pros at the top of their game, and they're able to bring their A game.
Well, one of our key races this afternoon, that will be the Damon Runyon from Aqueduct. That is race 8, their feature race at 7/8 of a mile. Silly Key, been kind of an interesting horse. Very tactical runner, can be close to the pace, but has shown an ability to sit off the pace as well. Every other start has been a win for this horse.
Yeah, I just worry about the 7th furlong. She won with ease last time, but watch the last part, excuse me. Never switches leads. That means that left leg is out in front right now, and that's what they're supposed to run around the turn in that left lead. They start getting leg where you're going to switch into that right leg late, just before the finish. Going to switch into it and is able to hold off the horses that are charging him and wins with ease, but going to have to do it again today.
Yeah, and that last start, they tried to stretch him out to a mile distance. Maybe that mile just a little bit beyond his scope.
Yeah, I think so. You see going 7/8 of a mile, getting a little bit late there, but we're back at the 7 furlong distance today, so we'll see what happens. We've got a fresh horse coming back at him today, so we'll see what happens.
And Jose Lezcano, he's been on board for both of the 2 victories for Silly Key. He returns in the irons today for trainer Linda Rice. Let's take a look at the action we have ahead for you on this Sunday edition of America's Day at the Races. As mentioned, Aqueduct Races 4 through 9, the Damon Runyon, they're featured. Track conditions, by the way, brought to you by Naira Bets. Our race schedule brought to you by America's Best Racing. We also have Oaklawn. Full schedule ahead from Hot Springs, Arkansas. They're muddy on the main track, and action from Tampa Bay. Races 7, 8, and 9, where they have beautiful weather this afternoon in Oldsmar, Florida. Fast and firm for those 3 races we will bring you at Tampa Bay. Want to remind everyone, get signed up, started, play along with Naira Bets. New Naira Bets members, they can earn up to a $200 new member deposit match. Enter the promo code Big A at sign up. Bet twice your original deposit. In 30 days, you receive that initial deposit back up to $200. Go to NairaBets.com with the promo code Big A to get involved. Race 4 at Aqueduct. It is a $25,000 claiming race for New York bred horses. 3/4 of a mile. It's the start of the Empire 6 wager. Bust into please right now, Gary. Favored with Kendrick Carmouche, who we know is a very good speed rider aboard. He's got a horse, a filly with speed here.
Yeah, she's got speed, and she's dropping down in class, I believe. She won an allowance race, one other than last time out, dropping in for 25. He's only run 2 times at Aqueduct with the 1 win, but trying to put 3 wins together right now.
Well, we're going to check in New York and talk to Richard Migliore. We were in studio, but Mig was out with the horses on track and really took in what it was like to be there with an empty racetrack. Mig.
Yeah, it's definitely different, a little bit surreal. Walking around the grandstand, you know, it's just a big empty building. But I will say I've spent a lot of my time down in the paddock or by the winner's circle with the grooms, the men and women that handle these horses. And the atmosphere still stays pretty electric. They're rooting their horses home. So even though we don't have a crowd, let's say, rooting these horses home, these people certainly make a lot of noise because they're passionate about their animals, and they certainly are here doing the best job they can under certainly difficult or strange conditions, if you will. Watching these fillies and mares warm up, though, kind of a really good-looking group for lower-level type horses. The 2-horse Timely Tradition from the Ray Handle barn, just really nice impression. This is a filly that's sports 7 wins. She runs well at Aqueduct. She's going to have to work out a trip from the inside with Dylan Davis. But I think from the way she looks from a physical perspective, certainly a big player here. The 3-horse, Let Me Take This Call, she looked best on the racetrack. She's the one who stood out just a little bit above everybody else. Mike Maselli winning at 30% at the meet. Terrific trainer. Actually was a terrific jockey, too. Won the Travers Stakes on a horse named Holding Pattern back in the 70s, and certainly a very good conditioner. And Bustin' to Please, who is your slight favorite right now, by Bustin' Stone's prolific New York breeding, New York bred sire, if you will, excuse me. Got a big warm-up from Kendrick Carmouche. Left the pony really 2-minute licked over the gate, and I think that shows some intention. Probably wants to try for the lead. Kendrick, good front-running rider for sure, but horses are loading up. Let's send it up to the voice of the New York Racing Association, John Embrial.
And we still have a few horses left to go in. Number 7, Arch You My Baby, moving into position. The 1A First Forever will be in the next to last starting gate. First Forever goes in, and the final horse will be number 8 and a big long shot, Ella's Song. And they're all in line. And they're off. First Forever broke well, but is now dropping back as Let Me Take This Call goes out for the lead with Bustin' to Please, the favorite. Racing in second, Timely Tradition is down at the rail in third. Archer My Baby is fourth. Ella's Song Extreme Outside in fifth, almost 3 lengths back to First Forever, and a big break to Peaches and Spice, who trails the field in seventh. The quarter, 22 4/5 seconds. So they are moving right along, going around the far turn. Let Me Take This Call on top here by 2.5 lengths. And then it's Bustin' to Please. Timely Tradition is down at the rail. Arch You My Baby is racing in fourth as Ella's Song drops back, followed by First Forever, and way out of it is Peaches and Spice. They're all chasing Let Me Take This Call, who ran the half in 46 seconds. Timely Tradition is picking it up now on the outside. Let Me Take This Call, and Timely Tradition has gone on by. Timely Tradition takes over the lead, and it will be Timely Tradition and Dylan Davis to win by 3. Let Me Take This Call was second. A photo for third between Bustin' to Please and Arch, You My Baby.
Timely tradition, Dylan Davis. It's trainer Ray Handel off the claim. This horse getting away from a muddy track last couple of starts. Picks up the 8th win of her career.
Yeah, and Let Me Make This Call, setting a nice pace up front. Dylan Davis, very patient back there, just taking his time. Knows that he's going to have a lot of force when she comes into the stretch. Unleashed her and timed it just right.
Not the pace scenario I think a lot of people were expecting to see in here. Let Me Take This Call was sort of alone early.
Yeah, I mean, everybody thought, well, at least I thought Bustin' to Please would be able to put some pressure on. Wasn't able to. Kinder Carmouche, very good gate rider, chose to sit there. It didn't matter. Not good enough.
We're going to take a break in the action. We will look back at the road to the Triple Crown from Saturday. Nadal looks like a prime contender for the Kentucky Derby, and we'll look back at the Jeff Ruby Stakes. Irad Ortiz Jr. with a big win as well at Turfway Park.
Thanks to all breeders, owners, and trainers who have supported medication-free stallion Run Happy. Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farms.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Big A at NairaBets.com.
Flatter. This prolific son of A.P. Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast. He's adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record, including Sovereign Award winner Avies Flatter. His yearlings have topped the Fasig-Tipton July sale 2 years in a row and sold up to $900,000 at Keeneland September. Success on the track, success in the ring. Flatter, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. The road to the Kentucky Derby went through Hot Springs, Arkansas on Saturday in a race that we brought you here on the show. And what a gutty performance from Nadal. Just the third start of his career, trying 2 turns for the first time. Gary got tested early, took all that heat up front, and he had more left in the tank.
Yeah, you know, he didn't leave the starting gate that fast, and Joel hustled him hard away from the gate because he was in that one hole, wanted to secure his spot. He was pressured early. 2 horses tackled him from the word go. I thought he was going to stop. He showed a lot of grittiness, and he's done that in his last 2 races, and I think he's just going to get tougher as time goes on.
Bob Baffert said he thought the best part of this performance, obviously a very gritty victory, but his assistant Jimmy Barnes said afterwards he wasn't blowing much after the race at all.
No, he's got a fitness level like no other that I've seen this year, and I think he's still got room to improve. These tough races are what make great horses. They continue on. Had somebody ask me earlier, how long can he do this? What's it going to take out of him? It doesn't take anything out of him. It helps him improve to the next level.
Likely to continue on in Arkansas and move on to the Arkansas Derby April 11th after that performance. This is a look at the Kentucky Derby leaderboard. He moves near the top of the list with that performance, and you have to think one of the prime contenders after that performance as well. Meanwhile, on synthetic at Turfway Park in the Jeff Ruby, the story of this stakes race has been dominance by Mike Maker. He won this race for the 6th time, including last year with Some Like It Hot Brown, as he gets it done with Field Pass with Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard.
Yeah, and ran a great race. He's done this in the past, bring horses that were turf horses. Forget, he's never run on the dirt, only turf. One time.
Yeah. the only time in his career he finished worse than 4th at Churchill.
Right. Onto the synthetic though. First time on the synthetic, easy adjustment for him. Mike's had success doing this before. He had it again yesterday.
So gets the job done. He'd won the Dania Beach on turf coming into this, so he's now won back-to-back starts. He beat the favorite Invader, who was pretty highly regarded, especially on synthetic. Had been undefeated at Turfway for Wesley Ward. Mike Maker also runs 3rd in the race with Fancy Liquor, and not really thinking about, I think, moving on to the Derby. Mike Maker thinks he's maybe more of a turf horse, so they're thinking, assuming everything stays intact with scheduling for the Kentucky Derby, he'd be looking at that American turf on that Derby undercard.
Yeah, perfect prep for that American turf. And they, in the meantime, picked up a big purse yesterday, winning the Jeff Ruby.
All right, so a couple of key victories, but I think Nadal, the one that has a lot of people talking. Baffert with another horse that really seemed to stand out, not in a stakes race, but made just the 2nd start of his career. We'll talk about a little bit later. Charlatan here in Southern California.
Yeah, he was extremely impressive yesterday, and he's another one that no one knows how good he is. When we saw that Kentucky Derby leaderboard, Authentic on top of that, another Bob Baffert. It's tough to tell which one of those 3, and I think those are the top 3 of, what is it, 5 horses, 6 horses of Bob Baffert that are on the Derby Trail right now.
It's incredible how loaded Bob Baffert is this year as he looks for a record-tying 6th Kentucky Derby victory. Back in that 4th at Aqueduct, it was timely tradition coming from off the pace. Dylan Davis, Ray Handel scoring the victory. Getting by Let Me Take This Call, who got out to the lead all by herself here from Mike Maselli with Jose Lezcano, but timely tradition rolls on by, and the 6-year-old mare gets the win, returns $11.40.
Yeah, and I love the way that Dylan Davis, he did good as an apprentice. He's continuing to improve with his patience. He's one of the leading riders at Aqueduct during this winter. Fun to watch him progress.
Late Pick 5 is coming up next at Aqueduct. It begins in this New York bred maiden special weight. 6 furlong sprint coming up. You see the 2 scratched in here. Right now it's Slash Gordon. First-time starter, son of Big Brown, for a very good trainer on the New York circuit, Michelle Nevin, debuting, who is favored with Manny Franco. So we will come back to this one in just a little bit. Again, that kicks off the Pick 5. We're going to have Tampa Bay coming up as well, or you can earn a 10% bonus on your Tampa Bay Downs bets today when you play through the NyraBets app. Bet at least $100 on Tampa today and earn a $10 bonus, win or lose, through the NyraBets app. Go to nyrabets.com for all your information. We're going to take a break in the action. We'll pick things up from Tampa Bay with their 7th race. When we return, they're approaching the 5-minute mark to post. We'll be back.
Go from Railbird to Winner Circle. With My Racehorse, you have access to top horses and trainers, backside tours, exclusive ownership experiences, and fast payouts to your online account. With shares starting as little as $100, the Winner Circle is waiting for you. Go to myracehorse.com or download the My Racehorse app today to join the thousands who have already started their journey as a racehorse owner.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and NyraBets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With NyraBets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the NyraBets app or visit nyrabets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code BIG-A at nyrabets.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on Fox Sports 2, you're watching America's Day at the Races. Our program brought to you, as always, in part by the champion sprinter Run Happy. Never lost in his career while sprinting and did it all while racing medication-free, and he has been an absolute hit at stud early on. There he is in legendary stall number 1 on the farm at Claiborne, where he stands for $25,000. We saw on the show yesterday, we played back his maiden victory at Turfway. That was where he kind of showed the world this horse has a lot of talent. He was extremely green, but he showed he had immense talent. He would go on to do some special things, including that Malibu win that you were part of.
Yeah, and that first race, he never ran like that again as far as style goes, where he came from that far off the pace. He was able to come off the pace, and he showed that when in the Breeders' Cup Sprint at Keeneland on a sloppy racetrack. It didn't matter if it was sloppy. It didn't matter if he was on the lead. Fortunate enough for me, when I rode him in the Malibu, he went straight to the lead and never looked back, and it was a thrill to ride Run Happy.
He was a one of a kind. Coming up next, Tampa Bay. We're going to have races 7, 8, and 9 from Oldsmar, Florida. This race is a bit of a puzzler. $12,000 maiden claiming event here. It is a 2-turn mile and 40-yard event. Easy to see why the 3 is favored here at 6-5 on the board. There's just not a lot of other ways to go in this race, but the 3 horse who is deserving of favoritism is 0 for 13.
Yeah, he's 0 for 13, but every horse in here was beaten double figures in their last race, including the favorite, and I know. But you go 2 back, and it was a good race, a decent race. He was second beaten 3/4 after making the lead, got tired and pulled up. Tough to kind of like anybody else in here but him. The 4 horse, currently at 8-1. Blinkers are going on him, so they're trying to, or on her. They're trying something different today with this filly. But her race 2 back, she was only beaten 8 3/4 lengths. And then the bottom horse, last time after setting the pace, they're trying something different today too. First time going 2 turns. Thing about this filly is the last time that she ran after setting the pace, going 5.5 furlongs, she went the wrong direction. She was stopping, so tough to imagine her being able to extend and go the route of ground, unless she just gets loose on an easy lead and happens to like it up there.
Yeah, you're talking about the 9 Captain Angel, and I thought she might be the only alternative to the favorite in this race on the outside, because she's going to be in front. And if she can get an easy lead, I mean, is that the case sometimes? You get an easy lead and then your horse is able to relax and maybe keep on going?
Yeah, I used to put my mindset in that, look, if I can get into that first turn with an easy lead and trick the filly or colt into thinking that they're just out for a morning gallop and that they're going to breeze the last 3/8 of a mile, that's the most important part of the race, is that last 3/8 of a mile. So I would imagine that, you know, if the jock can get her into that mindset, well, maybe she can dance on down. But that's a lot of ifs there, Greg.
It is, but that's the kind of race this is. You need to really be a forgiving handicapper to try and go anywhere but this even money favorite in this race. And even with the 3, who's now 3-5, and I know you have to be a little forgiving given what she did last time out. But if she can return to that form of 2 or 3 starts back, you would think this is absolutely her race to lose.
Yeah, I mean, the one filly in here, a mare, 5-year-old mare, Inca Princess, she likes to run second. She's had 40 lifetime starts in 4 seconds, 7/3. So camera shy, yeah, a little bit camera shy. They've tried her all distances. She's run on turf. She's run a route of ground, 7 furlongs, a mile. I mean, they've tried everything. So if she wins today, it's going to be congratulations, Merry Christmas. Took 41 starts. we'll see what happens.
Meanwhile, well, you mentioned the equipment change on the 4. The 5, I Am Alluring, 12 starts, has never hit the board in her career. She's a 5-year-old mare now, and somehow she's below 10-1 on the board. I mean, that just kind of tells you what kind of race this is. There's very little form to go off of.
Yeah, and as a rider, riding in a race like this and riding a horse that has gone that many times, you try and mix things up a little bit and try something that possibly hasn't been tried before. If it's never been on the lead, you warm them up extra special and really get their mind and try and get them to show some speed and see what happens from there. But it's a roll the dice kind of race here.
There's the big favorite moving in line on those pink silks, and I know start number 14 today, but really looks like a field that falls in her favor. We send it to Richard Grunder. Here's the 7th from Tampa Bay Downs here on Fox Sports 2.
Two more to go. Jeannie V and Captain Angel. They're at the post. And they're off. The favorite, And I Know, is away cleanly, as well as Inca Princess. And from the outside, Jeannie V is ridden for speed, trying to cross over. Also away with the top flight is I Am Alluring, everybody gunning for the early lead. And the early trailer is Mighty Frosty. They swing around the clubhouse turn. Along the rail, And I Know. A short lead, I Am Luring, draws alongside now second. Then it's 2.5 lengths farther back. Captain Angel up on the outside is third ahead. Jeannie V now racing along fourth. Then it's 1 length farther back to Trap Girl from between horses fifth. Along the rail, that's Inca Princess now sixth. Up on the outside, Mighty Frosty on the far outside is passing horses one by one. 2 lengths farther back to Vulea, and the trailer is R.D. Blessing. That's the 9 of them, with a half mile still to run, and there's still 3 across the track. And I Know is along the rail. Up on the outside is Captain Angel. I Am Alluring is there from between horses. 3 lengths farther back, Mighty Frosty, and Gary Wales now sets her down for the drive fourth. 1.5 lengths farther back, there goes R.D. Blessing with a quick turn of foot. R.D. Blessing is charging on the outside with a 1/4 mile to run. The heavy favorite, And I Know, regains the lead. R.D. Blessing up on the outside second. Captain Angel can give no more. Third as they're into the stretch. And I Know has been an all-out ride throughout and still has the lead. R.D. Blessing continues to grind away. I Am Alluring was checked sharply for racing room. Down to the wire, it's And I Know. R.D. Blessing on the outside. And I Know was under pressure throughout, but maintained to win it by 2. R.D. Blessing second, Vuela was third, and Mighty Frosty fourth.
I know this is a lower level claiming race, but this was a pretty gritty effort from And I Know. She looked beat in this race midway through, and she battles back.
Yeah, it took a lot of pressure. Everybody taking a shot at her. It looked like the 2-horse R.D. Blessing was going to run by her. She actually finished strong and won in hand today.
3-2-4 finish. At Exacta, huge price there in second with R.D. Blessing completing the Exacta. But And I Know the big favorite with the win at Tampa Bay as we head to Oaklawn Park, their third race. Here's a look at the current odds. It's a $10,000 maiden claiming event. Fillies and mares 3 and up, and a 2-turn mile and a 16th. As the 8-5 favorite is Weekend Madness in here for one of the hottest trainers, if not the hottest trainer on the grounds, Robertino Diodoro, 32% at the meet. And this horse dropping to the lowest level she's run at yet.
And this is what Robertino does. If they get beat a couple of times, he drops them. That's why He wins so many races. This one going from maiden 20, finishing 5th last time out, in for the maiden 10 today. That's a big class drop. I'm not going to argue with the bettors here at all at 8-5 for the 9. I like the 2 horse in here a little bit. A Real Gem. She's only started one time for Tom Vanberg, and she actually closed some ground in that race. It was same class, maiden 10. His horses generally improve second time out. So with the race under her belt and stretching out from 6 furlongs to a mile and a 16th, I'd give her a chance too.
A couple others taking some plays. Well, we should mention too the track condition. They were started muddy yesterday. They moved to sloppy later in the afternoon, but we're dealing with muddy conditions here today. So we need to take that into account as well and see who kind of moves up on the off track for Weekend Madness. You would think would really appreciate the track conditions today. Yeah, and when you get a horse that likes the mud, likes the off track, you can kind of count on them. Their form generally holds up pretty good. Get them to run good on the wet. Once. They're going to do it more times than not. I like the 12 horse in here a little bit, stretching out as well. Showed some speed last time, going 6 furlongs for Jason Barkley. Jermaine Bridgman riding here. Post position, not great, but I think that she's got enough speed that she can clear most of these, get over, save some ground. It's only her 3rd start. She was only beaten 3/4 of a length the last time she ran. Well, and not everyone has tried an off track in here, and some have and have very limited experience. But Weekend Madness, the 9, who's our 3-2 favorite, and there she is, about to move in line. The only one in this field who's actually hit the board on an off track before. We saw that in that sloppy track, a race that was taken off the turf at Gulfstream 2 starts back, as she steps in line with Orlando Mojica. 4 horse stepping in next, and this is a contender here with your permission. 2 sprints, now stretching out for Paul Holthus off the claim. Actually debuted at Del Mar last year. Yeah, now claimed for $25,000 last time out on a muddy racetrack, and dropping in for 10 today. Vic Stauffer with the call. Race 3 from Oaklawn. The 9 Weekend Madness with the drop in class, and from the Robertino Diodoro barn, certainly the one to beat. Here's Vic Stauffer.
And Emily Bug. They're at the post. They're off. Good start. Foolish Princess and Suits Me shows speed. With your permission, proudly fought in the center. These 4 are quickest, and it's a fast race to the first turn between With Your Permission and Foolish Princess, and With Your Permission is going to take the lead. Proudly fought gets over to the 2-path. Nice move, Jermaine Bridgman. Then comes Gypsy Wind Genie. Better move, Channing Hill from the 11 to the rail. Then it's 3 back to Suits Me, followed by Emily Bug, Weekend Madness, Our Lizzie Lou, Unlawful Assembly, and a Real Gem. Next, it's Plus Size Value, and at the back of the pack, it's Hermana Red. Up the backstretch, and the leader is With Your Permission to roll along for the Bug Boy. With Your Permission leads by 3 full lengths from Foolish Princess in second. Gypsy Wind Genie and Proudly Fought are together 3rd and 4th, and they're about 4 from the front. Here's Weekend Madness to move nicely up into 5th, and she's got forward momentum. Weekend Madness in the M&M green within 6 of the lead. 2 back to Our Lizzie Lou, then a Real Gem, and Unlawful Assembly. At the rail, Emily Bug, then Plus Size Value, Suits Me, and Hermana Red, and they round the far turn, and it's still With Your Permission the leader. Proudly Fought and Foolish Princess. Gypsy Wind Genie continues to save all the ground. Weekend Madness is now within 2.5 of the front. She'll be 5 wide, but she still has forward momentum. 3 back to a Real Gem, and they run off the top of the turn, and Weekend Madness slingshots to the front, and suddenly opens up a 3-length length lead. Weekend Madness now 4 in front. Gypsy Win Genie is a second to the outside in plus size value and a real gem. Let there be no doubt who's best here. It is Weekend Madness, and now she's just running up the score. Weekend Madness in front. Weekend Madness won by 10. Gypsy Win Genie was second, a real gem third. Close for fourth between Unlawful Assembly.
Big drop in class, 30% barn, and a horse who had fared well on an off track before. It all equals a win for Weekend Madness.
And I've got a feeling that this filly may be going to a new barn after this race. They're famous for claiming horses at Oaklawn Park, so she might be headed to another one.
Only $10,000 to dip in and take her away from Diodoro. We're going to take a break. Weekend Madness takes the third at Oaklawn. Much more ahead. We'll go back to Aqueduct right after this.
Eclipse champion Blame. Ranked among the top stallions of his crop, Blame has sired over 50 stakes horses. His recent top performers include Kentucky Derby hopefuls Shotsky, winner of the Grade 2 Remsen Stakes, and rising star Nadal, a $700,000 juvenile purchase and winner of the Grade 2 San Vicente. Plus recent Grade 1 performers Mississippi, Alandra, and Natalma Stakes winner Abscond. Outstanding value, outstanding results. Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Big A at NairaBets.com.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. I'm Richard Migliori, trackside here on a beautiful sun-kissed day in South Ozone Park from Aqueduct. We've got 7 horses going postward, New York-bred 3-year-old maidens going 6 furlongs, and we're getting close to the starting gate now. 5 of the 7 are first-time starters, and a couple took a lot of money, starting with the 3 Devil's Code from the Linda Rice barn. Spoke with Linda, likes this horse, trained well, it's got a great mind, very smart, the kind of horse that should be precocious. The 4-horse Slash Gordon, 5-2 right now. Michelle Nevin says trained very well, but a horse that's usually better the second time he sees something, so maybe mentally not as focused. The 6-horse Saratoga Pal, the benefit of 2 starts, is your favorite right now, and he's run well in both his starts. And the 1-horse Microsend, very, very green, and his trainer, Rudy Rodriguez, said he may not break extremely fast, and from the rail, that could be a disadvantage. But it's going to be interesting to see how the 3-horse Devil's Code from the first crop of Honor Code does here in this New York-bred maiden special weight race from the Big A. Let's send it upstairs to John Imbrial for the call.
And we're waiting right now on Saratoga Pal, Stash My Money, and Book of Delancey. Book of Delancey, one of 5 first-time starters in this field of 7 in race 5. The distance here is 6 furlongs. And the favorite on the board is number 6, Saratoga Pal, who is not one of those first-time starters. Big long shot, Book of Delancey, now moves in on the outside, and we are just about set for the start. And they're off. From the inside post, Microsecond is going out for the lead. Slash Gordon came away well and is a close-up second. Then it's a length to Gannon Dagan in third. Saratoga Powell, the odds-on favorite, is on the outside and racing in fourth, but already 4 lengths from the lead. Then it's Devil's Code and Stash My Money and a big break. Back to a Book of Delancey, who trails the field in 7th. The quarter went in 23-1. Microsecond on the inside and Slash Gordon on the outside. And 2 of those firsters are heads apart midway around the far turn. They've got 2.5 lengths on Devil's Code in third. Saratoga Pal is being asked to pick it up now from 4th. And then it's Stash My Money. And the field is coming for the quarter pole. Slash Gordon on the outside and Microsecond down towards the rail. Devil's Code is in third. The half went in 47 and 2, 3/16 to the finish. Microsecond digs down at the rail. Slash Gordon on the outside. Slash Gordon with a narrow lead. Microsecond continues to battle on. Then it's Stash My Money and Saratoga Pal on the extreme outside. Devil's Code is given way. They're coming down for the finish. Slash Gordon, Microsecond, the two of them heads apart. It looked like Slash Gordon may have gotten it. Photo finish here in race 5 as we start the late pick 5.
That's why you don't listen to trainers.
Wait, I'm telling you what, neither one of them. This is typical Rudy and typical Michelle Nevin. They're not going to show their hand before they lead these things over there. I hope that they bet an exacta on each other because they sure didn't show their hand to Meg. Meg, tell them we're not listening to them anymore. Thanks for the info, though.
Ready to roll first time out, Slash Gordon. Forget that second time out. Now I'm going to move up to the next condition. Michelle Nevin, well done, Little Red Feather Racing. Manny Franco, aboard for the victory, wins it 3-1 here in the debut. And yeah, Microsecond looked like early on was going to steal this race for Rudy Rodriguez.
Yeah, I mean, broke sharp from the rail and was doing things pretty easily early on for Rajiv Marat and just lapped on his outside. I mean, it was almost like a workout like you'd like to see with some young horses. That was Romero Mirage, excuse me, that was aboard the one-horse Microsecond. But they were working together, and Microsecond, he actually made the lead, re-rallied inside the 16th pole, and then you'll see when the other horses come up to Slash Gordon, the 3-horse Devil's Code to the outside, backing off right now a little bit, but when the 7 and the 6 come up and Slash Gordon feels that pressure, he's able to re-rally with the pressure from these other two fast-closing horses.
Yeah, that 7-horse made things interesting. I mean, this is a horse now making his 11th start, and there it is, 4-1-7-6 unofficially. Of those who had run, really, he had some very good results sprinting in the past, but comes up short today. A first-timer gets the job done. Slash Gordon, son of Big Brown for Michelle Nevin, with the victory to start off the late pick 5 at Aqueduct. What a performance in the Azeri for last year's Kentucky Oaks winner, Serengeti Empress. Fast as can be, she rolled to victory. And we'll take a look back at it and what lies ahead for her when we come back.
He's always been a beautiful moving horse. Got a great attitude, real simple to be around. And, you know, and he's done everything we've asked him. You know, he walks like he's on wheels. He takes that with him to the racetrack. And, you know, when you breeze him, he doesn't move his legs quicker. He just extends his stride. I mean, he looks like a horse that's got speed, but he might carry it a little bit too. And that's the thing about him. He's an athlete.
Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
DeMarshall offers breeders a rare opportunity. Out of a full sister to champions yesterday and Quarter Moon, his picture-perfect pedigree includes 8 Grade 1 winners under the first 3 dams. A winner in his 2-year-old debut at Aqueduct, he was named a TDN Rising Star. He captured a decisive victory at Keeneland and won the Grade 3 Pennine Ridge Stakes at Belmont. The only son of topsire Dubois standing in Kentucky. DeMarshall new for 2020 at Claiborne Farm.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. First-time starter, Slash Gordon. Michelle Nevin did have this one ready to go first time out. There's a look at the photo. Blanket finish, but clearly Slash in front at the wire by about a head. And Manny Franco in the irons for the victory for Little Red Feather Racing. $8.10 for the win to kick off this late pick 5 at the Big A.
Yeah, and Slash Gordon, impressive there first time out. Michelle Nevin thinks that he does everything better the second time he does it. Look forward to watching him run next time.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like some upside there if this one wasn't expected to run that big first time out and got the win anyway. Late pick 4 starts here. 1-turn mile, 30,000 claiming race for horses who have not won 2 lifetime. And currently the favorite, Our Last Buck, who is going to be stretching out from a couple of sprints, most recently for the barn we just saw win, Michelle Nevin. So Manny Franco, Nevin teaming up again, looking to go back-to-back with the current favorite. Meanwhile, back at Oaklawn Park, dropping class, and a victory here for Weekend Madness for Robertino Diodoro.
Yeah, and extremely impressive today, dropping down in class, $5.80, $3.40, $2.80.
Set up the 4th in Hot Springs, Arkansas. State Bred Company, maiden special weight, so everyone looking for that first victory here. 2-turn mile and a 16th. Sunday Sermon favored right now, coming off a 3rd place finish, sprinting at Oaklawn, and his 5-year-old debut, still trying to get his first win.
Yeah, and it's got to come at some point.
You would hope.
Maybe today's the day.
All right, we'll see if the stretch out, the difference for Sunday Sermon coming up in that 4th at Oaklawn. Big performance yesterday from last year's Kentucky Oaks winner, Serengeti Empress, in the Grade 2 Azeri. And trainer Tom Amos talked about not using the speed to her full potential in her 4-year-old debut. There was no question they did that yesterday.
Yeah, and he was vocal about what was going to happen early on, that they were going to use that speed. Joe Talamo did. He let her do her thing, very similar to what I used to do with Winning Colors. Just get out there and run them off their feet, and she sprinted home. And, people say, well, she had things her own way. She didn't have things her own way so much yesterday, and she's that fast. She makes it look like she's getting her own way, but she had a few obstacles late, midway through the race. So
loose horse she had to deal with.
Yeah, we had a loose horse, and the Talamo wasn't that aware of it. She broke so fast that disappeared, but the filly, she got the race won yesterday. Very impressive for Tom Amos. Here we go. Number 7, Emma, drops jockey Richard Aramia. And that's what I was talking about, is Joe Talamo was not aware that there was a loose horse on the racetrack. And she was extremely wide here, was the 7 horse. Going into the far turn, though, this is about the half-mile pole. You'll see Joe Talamo take a look over. That's when he realizes there's a loose horse. The problem with this is a rider and a horse. The horse that you're on, they don't care if there's a rider on that horse or not. It engages them, makes them run faster. Fortunately, the 7 horse stayed out several lengths away from Talamo and Serengeti Empress, and she's still running pretty easily right now, Greg.
So, I mean, in the heat of the moment, you're trying to keep in your head these fractions and not go too fast, gauge how this race is happening, and then you see a loose horse next to you. What's going through your mind?
Well, it was too early to push the button in Joe's case, because what Joe was doing, he'd let her bounce down the backside, but what you try and do as a rider, when you've got that big a lead, you try and give them a rest. Let them fill up with oxygen again from the half-mile pole to the 3/8 pole. When there's 3/8, if you can accomplish that, of getting an 1/8 of a mile to fill their lungs back up, get a nice breather, that's what you want. When that loose horse came, you're like, oh man, who's coming this early? It's way too early. But he was able to give her that well-needed breather, and when he did, when he pushed the button at the 5/16 pole, she was long gone.
Very quick, 23-1, 46-2. For Serengeti Empress, though, That's not too quick at all. She is extremely fast, and she showed in this race she can finish. Nancy Holthus caught up with Joe Talamo after the victory.
Tom had said going into this that he wanted to set more legit fractions. Were you happy with how the race set up for her today?
Yeah, she set some pretty legit fractions today, but I tell you what, I was amazed she went 46-2. It actually felt more like 47-2. She's got a tremendous stride and does it so easily, and that's a sign of a really good horse. And she did it today and opened up turning for home, and the rest is history. I'm very, very fortunate. Mr. Joel and Tom gave me the opportunity on it today.
Well, Tom has said she has God-given talent, and she certainly displayed that today, beating a very good field and rebounding nicely off that Houston Ladies Classic.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, she handled this track really well, an off track like that, and just all class. Like I said, I'm just fortunate to ride horses like that. It makes it a lot of fun.
She is lightning quick, and now she's won $1.7 million plus in her career. And you really got to credit Tom Amoss and the job that he has done with her. You got to remember going into last year's Kentucky Oaks, he wasn't even sure if he was going to enter her in that race. She had pulled up the race before, but he saw her work out right before that, realized he had made absolutely the right decision. And then she got the job done post 13-1, and now she continues to add to her resume. It looks like the apple blossom is next as we check in with Richard Migliori. Mig, your thoughts on Serengeti's performance yesterday?
Well, first things first, though, I'm not talking to any more trainers before the races. I can be lied to in other spots, guys. Serengeti Express was absolutely impressive, and I just love the way she was handled by Joe Talamo. Allow her to use her weapon. Her speed is her weapon. I've never understand why guys hold horses up and allow other horses into the race. I don't see how you think you can outkick the kickers is a good strategy. Gary, you were so brilliant at it. Get to the 3/8 pole and Katie bar the door. You won your first Derby on winning colors that way, and I just think when you have speed, use it to your advantage, and that's what we saw there. When she's good, she's as good as anybody in the country, guys. And performances like that, anybody's going to have trouble beating her.
It shows you, too, Gary, all the things that can go wrong in a race. The best laid plans, and then all of a sudden you have the race exactly the way you wanted it to go. And then here's a horse with no jockey on the back coming up to cause you all kinds of problems, but she handled it fine.
She did handle it fine, and, you know, we talk about the job that Tom Amoss has done with this mare, or filly, really is something. You know, one thing about Tom Amoss, he is brutally honest, and you know, Flavien Prat, very, very gifted rider, rode her in the race at Sam Houston, and he obviously wasn't happy with the tactics that he used, and he talked about that in the press, and he told Joe, look, just let her use her speed. And you know what, that's what a trainer's job is. You know, I've been taken off of horses in the past where I made mistakes, maybe mental mistakes, and learned something. And a good rider never make the same mistake twice. But you've got Joe Talamo already there at Oaklawn Park. He's on fire. He's winning all the stake races. So why not take advantage of that? And Tom took advantage, and everything went to plan.
And to your point, Mig, you can still trust Tom Amoss. He'll tell you like it is.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you can. He'll tell you if you can bet your money or not.
Sometimes these horses even fool the trainers they're around every single day.
I've been fooled so many times. I've ridden a lot of horses that first-time starters that didn't show a lot in the mornings working out. When I was a kid, my dad had a horse that it was the first time that I recognized something in the afternoon. The first time that he ran, I'd worked him out probably 10 times, and he was just showing average speed and no enthusiasm. And that afternoon that I rode him, the closer I got to the starting gate, the more he swelled up underneath me. He was on fire when we got to the starting gate. He went off and won by about 17 lengths. His name was Will Brazil, and I think he went on and won 17 or 18 races.
Wow. Yeah, you never know sometimes till they do it in the afternoon. This 8th at Tampa here, it's 5 furlongs on the turf. It is a maiden special weight. The favorite right now, that is Twirling Star to the outside. Blinkers will come off today. It'll be her 4-year-old debut, and she's actually going to cut back in distance on the turf. She went a mile last time out, but she has shown some speed sprinting in the past.
Yeah, and there's the 3-horse got some speed in here. Sherry's Tune, she's 3-1 right now, same as she was on the morning line. But she showed speed and faded late in all 3 of her races.
Well, yeah, don't lose that number, the 2. Sherry's Tune, the 3. Billy's Birthday Girl, the 5. Looks like they all potentially have some speed. So we'll see. Maybe Twirling Star cutting back in distance with Daniel Centeno maybe sits behind that pack of leaders.
Yeah, I think so. That's what it looks like. Blinkers are coming off today. And that tells me that they don't want her to show as much speed and be as aggressive, shortening up in distance today, too. Her last race was a flat mile on the turf at Gulfstream, and she was beaten 8 lengths that day after being just off the pace early on. So we'll see what Centeno does today.
And you have a first-time starter, a couple of them in this race, but the 8 Pissarro, who is by Mizzen Mast, this filly, who, of course, won the Malibu, the Stroob Stakes for the late Bobby Frankel, but was also Grade 1 placed on turf and a Grade 3 winner on grass. So Pissarro, the 8 at 9-1, maybe an intriguing first-time starter. It's a rider change there. Harry Hernandez on the 8. Also a rider change on the 7, Pedro Cotto Jr. on Band Sweetheart. Another first-timer, that one by JP's Gusto, who was very precocious as a 2-year-old. Del Mar Futurity winner. Also won the Best Pal in the Hollywood Juvenile. But not taking much play right now at 40-1.
No, and the 8-horse, 10-1 right now. It's got some flashy works in the morning. A number of 47-1, breezing from the gate. So expect the 8-horse to show some speed as well. Rider's off of the 2-horse right now. Not sure what the delay is. We're just informed number 2 is a late scratch. So we're going to have a delay here.
Yeah, that's going to take out one of the primary speedsters in this race as well. So maybe that opens the door for maybe that 3 Sherry's Tune or the 5 Billy's Birthday Girl, who look like maybe the 2 quickest in here.
Yeah, I would definitely think that the inside speed now would go to Sherry's Tune, the 3-horse. The 1-horse right here is, if she adapts to the turf, this is the first time that she's run on the turf. She's been off since April of last year. And her last race, she was beaten 3/4 of a length at Tampa, closing ground. So this race, with all it looks speed, on paper at least, it could set up for the 1-horse who they bet down to 7-2, Rachel's Wish.
As you mentioned, this is going to be her turf debut. She's by Perspective, who was actually very effective on synthetic in his career. And didn't try the turf a lot, but was second in his turf debut in a maiden race. A reminder for that Tampa Bay bonus. Earn a 10% bonus on your Tampa Bay Downs wagers today when you play through the NyraBets app. Bet at least $100 on Tampa Bay today. Earn that $10 bonus, win or lose with NyraBets as we continue to load up. Again, late scratch of the 2 here in this 8th from Tampa Bay. 5 furlongs on a firm turf course here in this maiden special weight. And favoritism now has gone to one of the speedsters in this race, that 3, Sherry's Tune, who's going to be trying the turf for the first time for Gerald Bennett.
The 9 still taking action out there, Twirling Star. The blinkers off, shortening back up in distance, as we mentioned. The 1-horse, Rachel's Wish. That's who I'm preferring right now, just imagining in my head how this race may set up. I think there's going to be a lot of speed. 6-horse, first-time starter, getting no action whatsoever. Yeah.
We have another firster in the 6-string Kiss. Not taking a lot of play, but by Treasure Beach, who was a Group 1 winner of the Irish Derby. Won the Secretariat as well, won over $2.4 million on the grass, but this one not expected to be maybe up to top gear first time out, currently at 53-1 on the board. This seems like the kind of race, though, that maybe underneath, exotics-wise, that maybe you can catch a big number.
Yeah, I mean, anything could happen in here. If this race falls apart, I could picture some strange things happening here. It's one of those that if you back-wheeled in here and you hit with a big number, the 6 or the 7, wouldn't be a bad hit.
Loading back up. We're just about set here. Slight delay with that scratch of the 2 as they backed out the field, but we're just about set. Richard Grunder will have the call. It's the 3, Sherry's Tune. We'll see if she battles this 5-horse early. It looks like those are the 2 primary speedsters in this race. Here's the 8th from Tampa Bay on Fox Sports 2.
One to move in, the Gulfstream Invader, Twirling Star. Will complete the lineup. She steps in. They're at the post. And they're off. Away and running, Love My Sunshine is away alertly and right to the early lead. There's the favorite Sherry's Tune. She's away in good order toward the rail. Billy's Birthday Girl comes away third, and far back in the early going is 6 Strong Kiss. To the far turn they go. Sherry's Tune in her turf debut now moves up and has the lead by a length. Love My Sunshine is there second, 2.5 lengths farther back. Billy's Birthday Girl now racing along third. Band Sweetheart is on the move now to be fourth. 2 lengths farther back, Passaro on the outside fifth. Down along the inner rail, Rachel's Wish is now sixth. Up on the outside, Twirling Star now seventh, but meanwhile up front, Sherry's Tune cruising along and has the lead. Love My Sunshine is there toward the rail second. Ben Sweetheart charging on the outside as they turn into the stretch. A furlong to run. Sherry's Tune is still the leader, and from the far outside, Twirling Star in full stride and going after the leader, but Sherry's Tune in front, winning impressively. Start to finish, reeled in at the end. Twirling Star was second. Band Sweetheart was third, and check the running time, 57.51.
Sherry's Tune with the win. It was actually the 4, Love My Sunshine, who got the early lead, but soon after, Sherry's Tune took over and able to hang on. And you do catch a big price there in third. That 7, Band Sweetheart, up for third place.
Yeah, and Sherry's Tune, her daddy's name is Adios Charlie. She said adios Sherry's Tune to the whole group. And nice win. Congratulations, Gerald Bennett and Harold Queen, the winning connections.
I think found a home on the turf. That was her turf debut. She looked very good. 3-9-7 finish in that 8th at Tampa Bay. We're going to head to Oaklawn Park. We owe you race 4. It happened just moments ago. State bred maiden special weight. 1 1/16 here on these muddy conditions. Vic Stauffer with the call from Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Into orbit and a hard scent Papa Star. Sunday Sermon was a bit slow into stride, but he challenges. I Stand for Love is quickest of them all, though. And I Stand for Love and Papa Star 1-2 with Sunday Sermon 3 deep. Jimmy T, Exotic Pegasus, and Into Orbit are next. Then Moonshine Moment and Fire 2. Implicator is next. Then Backroad Outlaw and Pearl 38. And the trailer is Traffic Scout. 3 of them across the track. Sunday Sermon not going to settle down until he puts his head in front. And there he goes. Sunday Sermon takes over the lead from I Stand for Love and Papa Star. 2 lengths to Jimmy T. Exotic Pegasus has 3 lengths to make up. Moonshine Moment and Fire 2 are both 5 from the front. They are 3 in front of Implicator, who moves at the rail inside of Backroad Outlaw and Into Orbit. Then comes Pearl 38 and 3 back to Traffic Scout. Sunday Sermon clears off going into the far turn. It is Sunday Sermon now 2.5 or 3 lengths in front. Jimmy T is going to move up and take second, and Jimmy T's after the front runner. Then it's 2.5 lengths back to I Stand for Love. Fire 2 begins to unwind, and so does Implicator, but they're both about 7 from the lead as Sunday Sermon is galloping along, and he's well in front at the quarter pole. It is Sunday Sermon now with a 4.5 length lead on Jimmy T. Implicator and Fire 2 are third and fourth now, but they're double digits behind Sunday Sermon and Jareth Loveberry, a final furlong to get. Implicator is now moving moving up. He's about to take second. He's still 6 behind, but he is closing. Meanwhile, Sunday Sermon comes to the 16th pole. He's 4 in front. Implicator continues to close. Sunday Sermon, Implicator closing, running out of ground. Sunday Sermon wins. Sunday Sermon beat Implicator a length and a half. Jimmy T was third and Pearl 38.
The stretch outs, the difference for Sunday Sermon. Going 2 turns on the main track for the first time. Tammy Hornsby, Jarrett Loveberry with the win.
Yeah, made the lead early and lengthened around the turn and had just enough left to get the job done. Late rush from the 12-horse Implicator. That was Implicator's third race, so it shouldn't take Implicator too long to get the maiden broke.
5:12 to finish. We're back in New York at Aqueduct. Here's our post parade for the 6. Awesome Adversary moving by at 26-1 as we look at Sneeds for Rudy Rodriguez. Big win last start.
Big win last time. Won by 7 3/4 lengths, and that was going a mile, and that's exactly what we were doing today.
Another horse from the Rudy Rodriguez moving by, BB Banker. As we look at the 4, big long shot here for Gregory DePrimo at 47-1. And the 5, Soul Flight off the claim for Randy Prasad.
Yeah. Beaten 15 lengths last time, taking a big jump up in class today, up to 30,000.
Kendrick Carmouche on Quiet Out East for Brad Cox.
Brad Cox been on fire of late. Kendrick Carmouche, first time he's ridden this one. Look for him to show a little more speed today.
And here's Manny Franco, Our Last Buck, Michelle Nevin.
4th, beaten 3/4 last time. And Mig, do not ask Michelle what she thinks of Our Last Buck.
Learned our lessons in the last race. Tom Morley off the claim. Horse who ran pretty good last time out, Tis Morning.
Yeah, Tis Morning, my pick in here. It's going to lay close to the pace, try and run him down late.
Pick 4, it starts here. Let's head back to South Ozone Park. Check in again with Mig.
Well, guys, getting a good look at these horses warming up, and certainly the 3-horse BB Banker looks sensational on the racetrack. Rudy Rodriguez horses are really running well, you know, today as well as recently. So he's certainly a major player here. The 8-horse, Our Last Buck, stretching out to the mile. He got pretty charged up in the paddock, and it's cooled off considerably here, and he started to sweat up pretty good. And I'm just questioning off the 2 sprints how effective that might be for him going a mile. He may be a little bit too keen. I've got questions about him as your favorite, and I'm with Gary about the 9-horse Tis Morning. He could not have looked better in the paddock. He would be the appearance pick for sure. Dappling out this time of year, just really, really looks good making his first start for Tom Morley. And if you kind of look deeper into his form, his dirt races are really good. He kind of ran in some ridiculous races like the Sword Dancer, but first time off the claim for Tom Morley. Looks great, gets a very good post, advantageous outside post going this 1-turn mile here at Aqueduct. And just for everybody's information, the 2-horse Sneeds did have to have a shoe replaced in the paddock. I never really think that's a great sign, but he certainly stood well and handled everything well, and the blacksmith was able to put his left front shoe back on as they're loading up here. But the 9-horse Tis Morning, he really made a great impression, and sometimes just a little bit of a change of scenery, a little different kind of diet. Every trainer certainly feeds a little bit different. This horse looks like he's really blossomed under Tom Morley's care. So let's send it up to the voice of the New York Racing Association, John Embrial, race 6 coming up.
Maya Mangina has moved in, so we're just waiting on that 9-horse Tis Morning, who's in the gate, and we are set. And they're off. Tis Morning away well from the outside. BB Banker is up close as they race up the chute. Tis Morning will be the leader. BB Banker and Sneeds and Our Last Buck. Those 3 are all together. And then it's a break of 3 lengths. Back to Quiet Out East, who's racing in 5th, followed by Soul Fight in 6th. Awesome Adversary runs in 7th. And My Amangina is the trailer in 8th. Tis Morning challenged here by BB Banker, and on the outside, Our Last Buck. So 3 of them across the track now. BB Banker posts ahead in front. Tis Morning runs in second. Our Last Buck on the outside in third. Sneeds is down at the rail in fourth. In between horses, Soul Fight. Quiet Out East in the clear on the extreme outside. Then 3 lengths to My Amangina and Awesome Adversary. The quarter went in 24-1. The opening half in 48-3. BB Banker narrowly challenged now on the outside by Our Last Buck. Tis Morning is now back running in third. Quiet Out East is on the move on the outside. A break of 4. Back to Soul Fight, My Amangina, Sneeds, and Awesome Adversary. Now Tis Morning has dropped out of it. It's between Our Last Buck and BB Banker. The two of them arrive at the top of the stretch together. Our Last Buck now in front. BB Banker is back running in second. Then a break of 7 lengths to Tis Morning in third, followed by Soul Fight and Quiet Out East. And now Our Last Buck has opened up here in the stretch. And it's going to be 2 in a row for M&M, trainer Michelle Nevin, and jockey Manny Franco. Our Last Buck by 4. BB Banker second, and Soul Fight finished third.
It's the Michelle and Manny show. Yeah, John Imbrial calling back-to-back victories here as Our Last Buck gets the job done here and wins for the second time in 11 career starts.
And got the perfect setup. Tis Morning barreled out of the starting gate. The 2-horse Sneeds, BB Banker, all knocking heads all the way down the backside. In the meantime, Manny was sitting back there perched and ready to roll, and lengthens his stride on the stretch out today. First time he's run long since Belmont in June of 2018, and that was on the turf. Might have found something new with the 1-turn mile here on the dirt.
That's a very talented young rider who we say his name a lot on our show, certainly when we get to Saratoga in the summer as well, Manny Franco.
Yeah, and a good kid, man. Class act, very good rider, strong rider, and smart rider.
Our Last Buck winds up going off the favorite at 9-5, gets the win, 8-3-5-9 finish. When we come back, we have more Bob Baffert 3-year-olds to talk about. Maybe the most impressive performance you may not have seen from yesterday. Charlatan, start number 2. Might have been even better than that debut 105 Beyer performance. We'll talk about it next.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Big A at NairaBets.com.
Coming on strong.
Minute to stardom. On top, coming down to the final 16th, opening up a 2-length lead.
My love for you.
Wild About Star, shining big here in Berry 1.
Oh, why did I wrong?
Testing, 1-2. The Star Guitar filly leads Champagne Diva close to home. It's testing, 1-2.
Feel my love for you. Coming on strong.
Run Happy is simply super. He polishes off an outstanding campaign with a dominant victory in the Malibu.
No medication, no problem. Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Very pleased to be bringing you live action as most of the sports world is either on hiatus, canceled, or suspended, but horse racing action continues without fans pretty much across the country, and even Maryland, the whole state of Maryland, canceling horse racing. That was effective today, but continuing to run at most other locations across the country, including New York. And we just saw Our Last Buck get the win as the 9-5 favorite at Aqueduct.
Yeah, and he was impressive today. That was only his 11th start for this 6-year-old gelding, and it was an impressive win today. Like I said, he might have found a new home going the 1-turn mile. He sure looked impressive today. Got a great setup, well ridden by Manny Franco.
So our last buck, $5.90 for the win. BB Banker. Huge long shot, Soul Fight. Making that trifecta come back pretty nice. But back-to-back wins, Michelle Nevin and Manny Franco. As we move on, race 7, and a rematch here between High Amplitude, who was favored last time out for one of the best trainers in our game today, Chad Brown, and then Score When He Wants for trainer Brad Cox, who's one of the fastest rising stars in our business. But Score When He Wants finished ahead of High Amplitude last time out. High Amplitude had the rougher trip, had to cover more ground. We'll see if today's different.
See if today is different. In the meantime, I think we've got something pretty special to show them from yesterday.
Yeah, we do. I mean, obviously, a lot of people talking about Nadal's performance, winning the Grade 2 Rebel for trainer Bob Baffert, but he unleashed a first-time starter not too long ago named Charlatan. 105 Beyer speed figure in his debut. That was better than what Justify did in his first start. Start number 2 was yesterday, stretching out around 2 turns.
Around 2 turns, and yeah, when they run as well as he did the first time, you almost wonder, did they do too much that first time that they started? And people were whispering about this horse. Well, they weren't whispering. They were talking loud about him before his first race. Drayden Van Dyke never let this horse run at all. He's also the rider of Authentic, so it's going to come down to, it looks like maybe Bob having to find a new rider, Drayden going to have to make a choice between the two. That might not happen for a while, but he was so impressive yesterday, went directly to the lead. And, you know, he set fast fractions and ran extremely fast at first out, sprinting to get that 105 Beyer. Yesterday, Drayden was able to kick him away from the gate, slowing down. They went slow the first quarter of a mile, and he just sped up as the race went on. He came home the last quarter of a mile in 25 seconds under no pressure whatsoever, actually being geared down the last 16th of a mile. So a lot to look forward to with Charlatan in the future.
Wins his debut as easy as can be, 5 3/4 lengths, 105 Beyer. Wins yesterday by 10+ lengths. In terms of Beyer numbers, he actually moves forward, a 106 Beyer number, stretching out around 2 turns. He's actually by a sprint sire, Speightstown, but it looks like he handled 2 turns, at least there for the mile, no problem.
He's got a great mind, evidently, enjoys what he's doing. The thing that you worry about right now with what's going on with the coronavirus and no crowds here, they're not getting any kind of education of how to handle crowds, and sometimes that's important moving forward. When the Kentucky Derby happens the first Saturday of May, if it does happen on the first Saturday in May, there's going to be over 100,000 people there screaming and whatnot, and you like to get an education, and that education comes in the Santa Anita Derby, which usually, for this particular horse, if that's where Bob chooses to run him, if everything goes according to plan, you have big crowds, Santa Anita Derby, and it gives them somewhat of a feel for what they're going to experience 4 weeks later. That's more than likely not going to happen here at Santa Anita, the big crowds. It's going to be like it is right now, 3 weeks away. I think it's 3 weeks away. But Bob Baffert's loaded right now.
So Nadal, Authentic, now Charlatan into the mix as well. We're still waiting to see 8 Rings make his return. 1,000 Words was beat by Authentic when they faced off, and you have Azul Coast, kind of his B contingent, who went up in Northern California in the El Camino Real Derby. Who's the best of the Baffert brigade right now, do you think?
Well, I've been on the Authentic bandwagon from the word go. I still am on Authentic. I loved what I saw yesterday by both Charlatan and Nadal. Both impressive winners yesterday. But here's Authentic in the San Felipe. First time that he raced with earplugs in his ears. He was so green in his previous race in the Sham. He raced all over the racetrack, zigzagging. He was facing better horses here, and I think I've ridden so many horses that were green, and they made the lead. They'd start looking around, taking things in, hearing things. The better horses that Authentic faces, the better he's going to perform. The more it's going to challenge him, the more it's going to keep him focused. He hasn't been challenged yet, and he moved forward in his last race. I think probably 5, 6, 7 lengths better. and was geared down at the end. He won with ease, so I think he's going to move forward. But Bob's got it's a flip of the coin, and the only reason I'm biased to this horse, he reminds me a lot of Point Given back in the day. Probably should have won the Kentucky Derby, should have won the Triple Crown, but if I was riding right now and my name got drawn out of the hat to ride any one of those, especially what I call the big three, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Well, not only did he move forward, he just looked so much more professional doing that, because we'd seen him zigzag into the stretch in his prior start, but it really looks like he solved that issue. Point Given was such a big horse. I believe he's over 17 hands.
Yes.
This horse, stature-wise, is big as well?
Yeah, he's a big, good-looking colt, and he's going to continue to grow. Interesting, back to Charlatan for a second. Bob Baffert this morning, his quotes from yesterday with Charlatan would be the Santa Anita Derby if the Kentucky Derby is going to run on schedule. He said we're going to have to wait and see. I'll make some decisions. Basically, that's what he was saying, is he's questioning, will we have the Derby, and what is going to be the best way to get to the Derby? If they happen to postpone it, where will he have his prep race? Is he going to have to change his whole game plan? I think he's going to have to. He's going to have to figure things out. But one great thing, he's got all these big guns over there, and if he wants to, he can have his own little race in the morning to keep all these horses fit. And a lot of the trainers with Derby contenders don't have that luxury of having horses that are fast enough to keep up with these types of horses.
Well, difficult right now for all these trainers to kind of pick spots of what to do, because it is a wait-and-see approach with everyone right now regarding the Triple Crown. Will the Derby take place that first Saturday in May? Churchill Downs has said they're going to make a decision likely towards the end of this next week coming up, so we should have more information by then. In the meantime, Maryland and Parks have canceled racing. Most other tracks still operating, but without fans. We'll be back with more live action on America's Day at the Races right after this.
Undefeated Grade 1 winner Mastery won impressively in his 2-year-old debut at Santa Anita. From there, he captured the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes and completed his juvenile campaign with a dominant performance in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Futurity. At 3, the top-rated son of Candy Ride sizzled in the San Felipe. Now, his much-anticipated first crop are bringing top dollar in the sales ring. Mastery, standing at Claiborne Farm.
And they're off. Second in the two-path. Round off first inside. Race. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 yards out. Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Master horse racing with the power of daily racing form. DRF has helped players win at the races for 125 years. Now the information you trust is better than ever. Get exclusive late-breaking news from our reporters at tracks across the country. Position yourself to win by adding buyer speed figures and the new DRF formulator to your handicapping arsenal. Go to drf.com/NYRA today. Use coupon code DRF2020 to get a free formulator card and start winning.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. It is brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net. Today, the majority of the sports world either suspended or canceled horse racing at most major racetracks. However, continuing, we mentioned just before we went to break, as you take a look at the odds for the 9th here at Tampa Bay, Parks and all racing in Maryland has been suspended as well. And we're waiting to hear what is going to happen likely this next coming week with the Kentucky Derby from Churchill Downs.
Right, and we were just informed in DRF, Daily Racing Form, saying that Sunland Park has closed for 2 weeks. The Sunland Park Derby is scheduled for next weekend, and that's a points race to get into the Kentucky Derby. I believe 50 points, so that's going to have an impact too. The thing about it is if the Derby is postponed for a certain amount of weeks or whatever, places like Sunland, they'll be able to reschedule that Sunland Park Derby, which would fit into the schedule of the Kentucky Derby, so they'll have that luxury.
Yeah, that was scheduled for next Sunday. There were only 2 Derby preps next weekend, Louisiana Derby on Saturday, the Sunland Derby on Sunday, so we won't have the Sunland Derby. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out and what happens with our Triple Crown as we take you to Tampa Bay here, this 9th race coming up, $10,000 maiden claiming race. 7/8 of a mile coming up, and our favorite in this race is on the outside. That is Rare Hugh. We have a rider change. Dale Allen Jr. will be aboard here for trainer Kelsey Danner, and a horse who has burned up a little bit of money. Been off favorite 2 of the last 3 starts and still looking for that first win.
Yeah, I don't know what happened last time out. Drew the 3-hole and was shuffled back a little bit. But faded late, moves from down inside to the extreme outside today, which may benefit Rare Hugh. His best races have come when he's drawn towards the outside. Anytime he's drawn down inside, hasn't fared real well. So Rare Hugh, the favorite right now, and the number 1 horse currently at 4-1. That's Starship Fozzie, was 3rd last time out. Happy Guy was also in that race, and Happy Guy finishing 2nd. Good race from him.
Yeah, I thought Happy Guy, we're talking, that's the 9, and the 1 at 4-1, that was Starship Fonzie, and they faced each other. I thought Happy Guy at least hasn't raced and becoming a career maiden, and has faced some better company. Actually hit the board against Maiden Special, Louisiana Downs.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Some of these horses that have started 20 times and not got their maiden broke yet, you know, you start wondering if they're camera shy or a lot of them, they're herd horses and they want some company. They're followers instead of leaders. So once that gets into them, just the way it is. The 10 horse, it's had 21 maiden starts and total earnings of $13,000, running some 4ths and 5ths, 3rd here and there, but yeah, wide open race here. I'm going to go with the ones that have run the fewest times, and I think my pick, though, would be the 11 horse out on the outside, Rare Hugh.
All right, Richard Grunder with the call. Race 9 from Tampa Bay Downs. It is that outside runner, the 11, Rare Hugh, the one to beat.
2 more to go in. Sterling Judge, and from the outside, Kelsey Danner's number 11, Rare Hugh. 5-2 on the board, and Ronnie Allen Jr. has the mount. They're at the post for the 9th and final. And they're off. The favorite, Rare Hugh, is away in good order, as well as Happy Guy. And there goes Sterling Judge now moving up and going to the lead. Old News will join the top flight, and far, far back in the early going is Noble King. They link up with the main track. Along the rail, Old News now strikes to the lead. Happy Guy right there between horses. 2nd, Sterling Judge, 3 deep and now racing along 3rd. Then it's a length and a half farther back. Savannas is now toward the rail 4th. The favorite on the outside, Rare Hugh. He's losing ground 5th. Starship Fonzie is there toward the rail 6th. Then we go back to Little Guy now 7th. 5 lengths farther back to Flug now 8th. Then it's a break of 3. My Computer toward the rail 9th. All-Star Runner is 10th. And then it's 5 lengths farther back to the trailer, Noble King. They swing around the far turn. with 5/16 of a mile to run, and Happy Guy now strikes to the lead. Rear You putting in a run on the far outside, down along the inner rail. That's Old News. Now retreating and going the wrong way. Flug is up on the outside now, also putting in a run, and they turn for home. 3/16 of a mile to run, and they fan 4 across the track. Happy Guy still has the lead. Here's a late run down along the inner rail by Little Guy, now moving the challenge. Severus is still there, and on the outside is Rare You. Way out on the outside, here comes Flug down to the wire. It's Happy Guy in front, and Rare You is surging late into Ronnie Allen Jr., and he gets up to take it in the shadow of the wire from Happy Guy. Severus was third in the 9th and final at Tampa.
Favorite gets the win. Rare Hugh, 11-9-3 finish. We go live to Oaklawn, race 5. $50,000 claiming race at 3/4 of a mile. And the 2, the one to beat for Robertino Diodoro. Vic Stauffer with the call.
Lucky. 2 more now. Pete's play call and recount. They're at the post. They're off. Jerry's Pride and Joy breaks well. So does recount between horses. DeRapper and Pete's play caller close up. Powerful Alley's at the rail. Ally is at the rail. Then to the outside and short list, followed by Flat Lucky, and the trailer is Principe Guillermo. 4 across the track. Up the backstretch, recount between horses. DeRapper 3 deep. At the rail goes Jerry's Pride and Joy, and Pete's play call is 4 wide. These 4 across the track. 2.5 lengths further back to short list. Principe Guillermo is about to move up into 5th, and he's on the move. Here's Principe Guillermo, white blinkers, pink silks. He could need racing room, but he's on the move nicely. Pete's play call and short list. Between horses goes recount. Principe Guillermo still looks for a way through. He's 2 from the front, top of the stretch. Pete's play call has the lead. Recount is between horses. Jerry's Pride and Joy. Principe Guillermo and DeRapper just tried for the same spot, and to the outside goes in the center of the track short list, and Pete's play call has the lead. Now finally Principe Guillermo is in the clear, and here he comes up the fence. Principe Guillermo got clear and takes command. Principe Guillermo beat Pete's play call. Flat Lucky was 3rd. Jerry's Pride and Joy 4th.
Principe Guillermo, morning line favorite. It's Robertino Diodoro once again.
Yeah, and there was some bumping going around there at about the 8th pole, and Prince Guillermo, Orlando Mojica finally finds some room inside the 16th pole, just passing the 16th pole right there, and draws off, wins pretty easy, but had to fight for it just to find some room. Frustrating when you don't find that room, but Orlando Mojica found it. That was the 3rd off the layoff for Principe Guillermo. Nice run.
He loves an off track too. Now he's perfect 2 for 2 in the off going. He seems to move up numbers wise too when the track's a little wet. As we go back to New York, 4 minutes to post. 7th race here coming up, and here's Flying Curlin, returned from a layoff dating back to November 2018. He come back and he won in the mud at Aqueduct at 7/8. The 2 is scratch. The 3 Shadow Rider for Rudy Rodriguez. He had a win for $25,000 claiming last start. The 4. Here's High Amplitude, 3-5 favorite, even though he's a beaten favorite against Scores When He Wants, the 7 horse, last time out on February the 16th. Hirsch for Dermot Magner. Eric Hansel aboard at 9-1. He's finished 3rd in back-to-back starts at Aqueduct at this same condition. The 6 horse, long shot, Freedom Prince, gate to wire win for $50,000 starter allowance company last start. And here is Scores When He Wants, even though he did beat High Amplitude. He had the better trip, saved more ground. But he's 7-2 right now. He finished 2nd in that effort. I Love Jackson was the winner. High Amplitude was a neck behind him, closing fast. For more on this race, let's go to the MIG.
Thanks, Greg. And looking at these horses warm up, let's start with that 1 horse, Flying Curlin, who came off a 14-month layoff to win going 7 furlongs. And the way he won, he was up on the pace, he dropped back around the turn, wound up coming on, rallying well, and looked like a dirt horse. He's a big, raw-boned son of Curlin, carries a lot of weight. And I got to think that race is going to make him take a step forward, and he's going to need to take a step forward to compete with the likes of the 4-horse High Amplitude. But I do think he can, and I really like what I saw from him in the paddock. The 4 High Amplitude, obviously the horse to beat. Big favorite on the board, looks great in the paddock, as you would expect the Chad Brown horse to look, owned by Claridge Stables. Seth Klarman finally getting his recognition with an Eclipse Award as leading owner last year. And the 7 horse scores when he wants, 2 wins, 7 seconds. That's problematic to me. But I got to tell you guys, this horse looks dynamite. He's not a very big horse, but he's as balanced an individual as you're ever going to see. Pretty much a completely opposite type than the one flying Curlong, much kind of lighter on his feet, and really, really looks good. Great coat in the paddock. So I'm going to be curious to see how things go with him and if he actually has that will to win when it comes to crunch time, Greg.
Mig, thanks. And I think maybe the big difference in today's rematch between these 2 horses and the 7 horses, the one who finished ahead of our 3-5 favorite last time out, High Amplitude, the 4, he was all the way on the outside post-wise that day. Meanwhile, Scores when he wants, the 7 had the rail. This time they're swapped a bit. High Amplitude has the, I guess, the closer to the inside post position. Do you think that makes the difference?
It could make a difference, but what could make a difference for Scores when he wants to put him in the winner's circle today is maybe Kendrick Carmouche learned something about him the last time that he rode him, because he did make the lead coming into the stretch. Maybe moved a little bit early because of that inside post position. So Kendrick's going to have the luxury of being able to wait if he chooses to, and wait a little bit longer for the stretch. The horse just inside of him, Freedom Prince, the 6 horse for Tom Albertrani, he's got speed. Flashed some speed last time out. So maybe you can let him go, use him for a target to get him into the stretch, and go from there. But I like Scores when he wants, and from what Richie said, the way he looked out in the paddock, that's what I'm hoping. That, when you ride a horse one time and you make the lead early and you go, oh man, why did I do that? Come back and watch the replay, and you feel it too. And so maybe we'll see Kendrick Carmouche be a little bit more patient today. Not that he wasn't last time, but sometimes you get fooled into making the lead and the horse throws his ears up, and there's not a lot you can do about it except take your punishment by running second.
Well, and with High Amplitude, who's still the 4-5 favorite, that last performance when Scores when he wants finished ahead of him, it looked like Manny Franco really kind of had to go to work on him quite a bit to get him going in that race. Finally, he started to respond, and late he made it very close. But I don't know, it seems like a horse that definitely needed to get into gear for a little while.
Yeah, look, he's 4 years old. He's only had the 4 starts, so he's lightly raced. And this is 3rd race off the layoff. So with Chad Brown, I would think that's a plus. Having those 2 races under his belt, maybe he's a little sharper today, can lay a little close. Manny can save his energy for the finish instead of starting early on him.
And High Amplitude, you look back to who he faced in his debut, Hidden Scroll. That was the horse who, when he broke his maiden for Bill Mott, everyone thought that was potentially our Kentucky Derby winner, how impressive he was that day.
Well, it wound up being Billy Mott, but it was not that particular horse.
And would wind up winning via DQ with Country House. Turned out to be Bill Mott's year anyway, getting that coveted Kentucky Derby win via disqualification. Loading up race 7 here at Aqueduct. High Amplitude for Chad Brown, the 4, in a rematch with the 7. Scores when he wants. Let's go to John Imbrial for the call.
And a Shadow Rider with those yellow blinkers has just gone into the starting gate, so we still have 4 more to go in. High Amplitude currently at 4-5. Manny Franco looking for his 3rd consecutive victory on the card. Hirsch is now in, so we're waiting for Freedom Prince, number 6, and Scores when he wants, number 7. Freedom Prince in nicely. Scores when he wants now steps up, and we will have a field of 6 going the 8 furlong distance here at Aqueduct, the 1-turn mile. And now Scores when he wants, moves in. We are set for the start of race 7. And they're off. A slow beginning for Shadow Rider. A good start for Freedom Prince and Scores when he wants, and now High Amplitude is moving on through. It's Freedom Prince and High Amplitude, and those two are heads apart. Scores when he wants, right there on the outside in third. Then it's Hirsch in fourth, followed by Flying Curlin, 4 lengths. Back to a slow starting Shadow Rider. Now they're on the back stretch. And it is Freedom Prince with the lead here by a half length. High Amplitude towards the rail, runs in second with Scores when he wants alongside. The quarter went in 24 seconds. Then it's Hirsch in the pink cap racing in fourth, Flying Curlin at the rail in that black cap. And a Shadow Rider has now picked it up on the outside and is just 3.5 lengths off of front-running Freedom Prince, who leads here by 3/4 of a length. Scores when he wants, second by a head. High Amplitude is in third. Shadow Rider continues to advance on the outside. The half in 48 3. The two trailers are Hirsch and Flying Curlin. Freedom Prince scores when he wants. Now High Amplitude makes his move, gets off the rail, and has moved to the outside for the run to the top of the stretch. And steadying there and appeared to get all tangled up there with Scores when he wants, who was dropped out of the race. Freedom Prince is the leader here as they pass the 3/16 pole. It is Freedom Prince in front, and in front by 5. High Amplitude runs in second. Then it's Flying Curlin down at the rail, followed by Hirsch and Shadow Rider. As they come down for the finish, it is Freedom Prince to win it here by 2.5 lengths. High Amplitude was second, Flying Curlin third.
Freedom Prince will cross the wire first, but unfortunate incident in here with Scores when he wants. Had to pull up out of the race.
Yeah, we don't know exactly what happened, so we won't speculate, but he did take a funny step just approaching the stretch just before the quarter pole, threw his head up as Kendrick felt something. His head went straight up in Kendrick's arms, and he was pulled up, so Richie will try and get some information for you on that, but nice win from Freedom Prince. 2 wins straight back to back for trainer Thomas Albertrain.
Leo Correa aboard for that win. That's back-to-back wins now, 3 wins the last 4 starts, but fortunate here and unfortunate for Scores when he wants. Hopefully everything okay. And again, yeah, Richard Migliore will try and get an update for us, but 15-1 long shot, taking the 7th at Aqueduct, our feature race from New York. Still to come with the Damon Runyon. We'll have that for you when America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2 continues. 15-1 upset at the Big A. We'll be back with more right after this.
All of them have pretty good minds. We're all pretty happy with their minds and how they react to things and how smart they are and pick up what we want them to do very well and very quickly. And, you know, most of them have very good temperaments like he did, and, you know, most of them are showing some speed, so we're pretty happy with the way they all are.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America's Best Racing is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code BIG-A at NairaBets.com.
Back on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2, our show brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Back in the winner's circle at Aqueduct, Freedom Prince, 15-1 long shot, has now won 3 of his last 4 starts for Tom Albertrani. Obviously, hoping things okay with Scores When He Wants, who Kendrick Carmouche pulled up out of the race. $32 winner, Freedom Prince, with more on this race. Let's check in with Richard Migliori.
Thanks, Greg. I just spoke with the rider, Kendrick Carmouche, of Scores When He Wants. Said the horse took a funny step as he came off the turn, and he changed to his right lead, shifting his weight to his front forefoot, and he was able to pull him up quickly out of an abundance of caution. He said the horse was able to get on the van on his own and walked onto the van, and it seems like it's not as serious as it originally thought it might have been when he pulled him up so abruptly, but we'll have to wait to see further reports about it. But the good news is he was able to walk onto the horse van under his own power.
Mig, thank you for that. That's very good news. So we hope that continues to be the case when they get this horse checked out and everything, but at least a positive sign, did walk off under his own power.
Yeah, and it's better to err on the side of caution in that case. I was taught at a young age from my big brother Scott, if you feel anything that doesn't feel right to you, pull him up. If you make a mistake, hey, you move on to the next day, and it's better to err on the side of caution. I've had that happen many a time where I felt something, a horse take a funny step back behind, up front, or something. I pull him up and you feel embarrassed, but you're actually relieved that the horse is all right. It's better than, you know, the alternative of forcing a horse to run and injuring them further. So you've got to trust your gut instincts in that situation, making split-second decisions, and horses do take funny steps out there sometimes that feels weird to us, and you know, it sends off warning signals, and you reach and get them pulled up as quickly as you can. So good job, Kendrick, for getting that horse pulled up safely, it sounds like.
Yeah, no question. Kendrick Carmouche taking care of the horse there. Very, very well done. Of course, most sports, and it was a trickle effect, and it happened very quickly with sport to sport. NBA, Major League Baseball, NHL, they all sort of followed suit, canceling or suspending their seasons. It has happened just about down the line, but horse racing, for the most part, still able to go on with what we're dealing with in these unprecedented times with the spread of the coronavirus. We're seeing it in a lot of countries in Western Europe. In France, they've closed all restaurants, bars. In Spain, most people there are being told to stay in their homes. So far here, for the most part, we're going on with extra precautions, of course, but life is normal. We'll see if that continues. But racing continuing at most racetracks. We talked about parks. We talked about the state of Maryland canceling racing. But in other locales, continuing, but with no racing fans.
Yeah, and you know, it's great that we're racing. The horses still need their care in the mornings, so that's not going to stop. But they are athletes, and fortunately for us and the horses, they're able to go out and perform right now. You work them out when they're healthy, and prepare them for their next race, and like any athlete. And I'm sure all the athletes whose seasons have been suspended or canceled, they're still working out. They're not going to stop working out. They're going to keep themselves fit for when they can play and get back to business. So with the horses, dealing with a little different, no pun intended, but animal, that their mind, they don't know why they're not being led over there to run in the afternoon. So thankfully, we're still running in most jurisdictions. There has been some more cancellations, with Sunland Park just announcing a short time ago that Sunland Park Derby will be canceled next week. But the show's going on here on Fox, and bringing you some fun times and fun races.
Yeah, and you know, we have some big ones still to come. The Dubai World Cup, they've announced for now going to run with no fans as well. The Derby, 7 weeks away. Churchill Downs expected to announce within this next week coming up what their plan will be for the Kentucky Derby. Meanwhile, the scene in New York at Aqueduct. Let's check back in with Richard Migliori.
Well, Greg, I wanted to come up here to the third floor to give everybody a little bit of an idea or perspective of what it looks like with the empty grandstand here at Aqueduct. I've been watching a lot of the races down at the Winner's Circle, so I have company from the grooms and the handlers of the horses. But up here, it's kind of an eerie feeling to have such a huge, cavernous building as empty as it is. As a matter of fact, Equestrious, the largest restaurant at one time in all of New York City, being here in the borough of Queens, is completely empty. You walked through there before, and all you could hear is the sound of your own feet hitting the ground. So it's kind of an interesting concept. It seems like a lot of the horses are responding well, though, to the quiet. Gary alluded to that about young horses having to put up with a crowd and how they deal with it. Well, a lot of these horses, even the older ones that have a tendency to get a little bit excitable, have been really, really calm and collected in the paddock, and that's always a good thing for sure. Now, I did have a chance to catch up with Dr. Verderosa, the examining veterinarian here at the New York Racing Association tracks, and we talked about the coronavirus and the potential impact on horses. Now, every breed of animal, whether it's a cow, a horse, obviously human beings, there are coronaviruses, but they're individual to that specific breed. With horses, it's not a life-threatening situation. It tends to be more of a gastrointestinal problem with them, where they may have diarrhea or, at worst, colic. So it's not a life-threatening situation as it would be with people, particularly with compromised immune systems. And there's no way that they can intercept horses to people. It's individual to a specific breed. So it seems like the horses are fine. We just got to worry about the people, guys.
Mig, yeah, thanks for that update. So humans cannot pass it on to horses and vice versa as well. So there's no real danger of that. And really, in terms of you're thinking about continuing this game, which we're doing at most of these racetracks, you still have to care for these horses and you still have to work them out in the morning. So it's really like life really hasn't changed a whole lot, except for the fact that there's no fans here.
Yeah, and you know, I came in, when I drove in this morning about 10 o'clock, the horses were 10 o'clock West Coast time. You drive across the horse path. There was a security guard there holding the stop sign. The horses are continued to school in the mornings. They were being led from the barn area to the paddock because they're horses that are going to be running in the next couple of days or next week. And that's something that we constantly do, is bring these horses to the paddock, circle them down in there so they'll be used to their surroundings and know what's going on, hopefully, when people do show up. People aren't showing up now, but when I know when Richard Mandela would school Beholder, and he would start doing it about 2 weeks out from a race. She knew that it was coming close to game time when they started bringing her to the paddock. You know, she knew what was going on. So that's continuing on right now with these horses.
All right, we'll continue to bring you action here on Fox Sports, of course, next weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We will be on Fox Sports 1, bringing you more of America's Day at the Races from across the country. We're going to take a break in the action. More ahead, including our feature from Aqueduct, the Damon Runyon for 3-year-olds, when we come back.
Catholic Boy, one of only 3 American 3-year-old colts in history to win Grade 1s on both dirt and turf, including the immortal Secretariat, a graded stakes winner at 2, 3, and 4, from coast to coast, from 7.5 furlongs to 1.25 miles. In 2018, the fastest 3-year-old in the country over 10 furlongs by internationally successful sire More Than Ready, Catholic Boy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Round on her inside. Race. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 yards out. It's last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
This is a Run Happy colt out of Pledge Pen that we brought here to the OBS March sale. We felt he was a star physical, very good training horse, and although he's on the big side, he's got a lot of speed, and we feel like he'll be an early, precocious type of horse.
Just a real straightforward, nice filly. Her precociousness to be quick early, being sound, good-minded, checks all the boxes. We're just hoping the market receives her well.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code BIG-A at NairaBets.com.
Live coverage of horse racing here on Fox Sports 2 continues on America's Day at the Races. Live racing from New York at Aqueduct in Hot Springs, Arkansas at Oaklawn. And you're looking at the odds for the 6th here at Oaklawn Park. Starter allowance, $12,500 starter allowance race coming up. Even money on Heaven's Whisper off the claim for trainer Paul Holthus, 10-time winner from 24 starts. For more on this upcoming race, we check in with Nancy Holthus.
Thanks so much, Greg. Well, it's pretty chilly today, but I'm certainly not opposed to getting my picture taken. This one comes from the barn of my husband, Paul Holthus, off the $50,000 claim, and this mare is certainly one to get her picture taken quite a bit. Now, very consistent 5-year-old does debut for the barn. She stalked the pace for third, beaten shy of just 3 lengths last out, and was claimed. Now she does get some class relief today, dropping in for that starter, and that winner did score next out against a very nice group. Now 2 back was What a Fox that Heaven's Whisper was runner up to. That horse scored next out against a very nice top allowance optional 100 claimer, and was also third in the Spring Fever last go. But I think the biggest competition is breaking just to her inside in Drip Brew. Looks to be the pace setter, did just that last out against starters. She led until the top of the lane, but when she was challenged, she faded to run 4th by less than 3. But I like that the barn taps leading rider in Ricardo Santana for the mount today. So we could see a battle between Heaven's Whisper and Drip Brew. Greg?
Nancy, thanks. And, you know, Gary, I would think for Drip Brew, the 5, who's very, very fast, the problem for that horse in here is Take Charge Erica, the 3, who's also very quick and could put some pressure on early.
Yeah, but I think that Ricardo Santana, he's got some options there. He doesn't have to go to the lead. He can lay just off of Take Charge Erica if he chooses to. I don't know if Take Charge Erica is as quick as Drip Brew, but I got to tell you, when Ricardo Santana and Federico Villafranco get together, they hit at 40%. So Ricardo's phone only rings from Federico when he thinks it's pretty much at least 50%, close to 50% sure thing.
It's not often that, we don't see Santana with an Asmussen horse, but with no Steve Asmussen runners in this race, he happened to be available.
Yeah, and this is one of the guys that looks for him is Federico Villafranco. 2018, when I was based at Oaklawn, I had the pleasure to ride quite a few winners for Federico and his main owner, Danny Caldwell. So I like Drip Brew in here. I'm rooting for Heaven's Whisper, for Paul Holthus and Nancy. Like to see her get her picture taken on this cold day, warm her up a little bit.
Nothing like heading to the winner's circle. So, yeah, Paul, Nancy, good luck here. They have the 6-5 favorite. You have one on the outside as well. Zella Rose, the 7, another one that loves to win. 7-year-old Merrick, 12-time winner. Vic Stauffer with the call.
They're at the post. Euro Devil Woman, Fractious. They're set. They're off. Drip Brew wins the break and goes for the front from Take Charge Erica in second. Heaven's Whisper away in a third. Then Zella Rose, Rizzy's Honors, and Euro Devil Woman. Uncontested lead up the backstretch for Ricardo Santana Jr. and Drip Brew. They're in front by 3 lengths from Take Charge Erica in second. It's another 4 lengths to Heaven's Whisper in the pink. She's 7 off the lead. Rizzy's Honors inside of her. Euro Devil Woman has 9 lengths to make up, and Zella Rose is the trailer of a strung out field headed up by Drip Brew leaving the backstretch. It is Drip Brew, a 3-length lead on Take Charge Erica in second. Heaven's Whisper is now beginning to move, and Heaven's Whisper and Joe Talamo are about to take second, and they're after Drip Brew at the top of the stretch. Drip Brew only leads by a length. Heaven's Whisper on the attack in second, and these two come to the final furlong, Heaven's Whisper and Drip Brew, and Heaven's Whisper has taken over the front, and now she's a length and a half in front of Drip Brew in second. Take Charge Erica and Rizzy's Honors, but Heaven's Whisper is just too good. Heaven's Whisper away now by 4. Heaven's Whisper. She won it by 4 in hand. Drip Brew was second. Take Charge Erica third. Rizzy's Honors finished 4th.
Picture time for the Holthus family. 11th win now from 25 starts for Heaven's Whisper.
And she won easy as you could want one. Joe Talamo not wanting the front runner Drip Brew to get away, started hustling a long ways out, about 3/8 of a mile, and the response was instant, and you could kind of see the result. When she was still 5 lengths behind, you could see what was coming. It was like Jaws coming after the next victim right there. And Heaven's Whisper, nice win.
Now I hear that music lurking in my mind. Wrapped up, Joe Talamo looking to the hand ride and very quiet late in this race. Plenty underneath him. Heaven's Whisper gets it done again. She loves to find that wire. The Damon Runyon feature at Aqueduct. Damon Runyon, of course, famous journalist who chronicled Broadway and the lives of sports figures and gamblers for several decades. Favorite in this race, Bourbon Bay right now, the 3 at 2-1 for Mark Hennig. Let's check in with Richard Migliore for more.
Well, that's a good-looking group of horses, Greg. Obviously, stake horses, New York breds. And let's start with the one horse, Dream Bigger, who I think plays out to be the controlling speed here, even though it's not a great post position, post 1. Dream Bigger, earner of over $300,000 already. Guys, it pays to own, breed, and race New York breds. And I think speed's been good today. I think he controls it from the inside. I don't know that you want to be dead on the rail, but I think Junior will have some options. And really on his toes in the paddock. Could not look better. The 2-horse, More Grateful, well, he would get the check mark as far as paddock appearance. Now, we know it's not a beauty contest. Pretty is as pretty does, but More Grateful has run well in all 3 of his starts, and I just thought he looked outstanding here in the paddock. And everybody's talking about Silly Key, the Linda Rice horse, the 4, but I was really intrigued with the 6-horse, the other Linda Rice trainee, Prince of Pharaohs. Man, this son of the Triple Crown winner, American Pharaoh, has his game face on. Just absolutely serious demeanor, and just looks to me like he's primed for maybe his best effort. And he's coming out of some very tough races. I think this horse is a very, very viable option if you're looking to beat some of the favorites.
Mig, thanks. We're underway in our post parade here, up to the 3 here, and this is our current favorite, Bourbon Bay, son of Byron for trainer Mark Hennig, was beat by horse who was a contender for a while, had been undefeated on the Triple Crown Trail, Independence Hall, before that streak finally came to an end. Beat by Chowda last time. Chowda a scratch in this race. Silly Key, the 4-horse, Jose Lizcano aboard for Linda Rice, winner of the Rego Park for State Bred Company. 2 starts back at 6.5 furlongs. Certainly a player who's won every other start in his career, and that would mean he's due for a win today if that continues. Prince of Pharaohs from the first crop of American Pharaoh, Triple Crown winner, trained by Linda Rice. Kendrick Carmouche aboard here. Just missed to Titans Will. Here's Titans Will last time out. Titans Will has won back-to-back starts for Orlando Noda, who stepped into the New York scene with a flourishing start. It's had a tremendous beginning in New York and trying to keep it going here. Can Titans Will get 3 in a row? The feature, the Damon Runyon, next. Race 8 here from Aqueduct on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. We'll be back.
Smiling Tigers Championship sire performance continues. Each of his first 3 crops has produced a Horse of the Year, including California Horse of the Year Spiced Perfection and 2019 champion 2-year-old male El Tigre Terrible. 14 6-figure earners, including 7 with single-season earnings surpassing $100,000 in 2019. California's #1 second crop sire in 2018 and now #1 third crop sire of 2019. Smiling Tiger, standing at Harris Farms. Visit SmilingTigerStallion.com for more information. It pays to be Calbred.
He's always been a beautiful moving horse. Got a great attitude, real simple to be around. And, you know, and he's done everything we've asked him. You know, he walks like he's on wheels. He takes that with him to the racetrack. And, you know, when you breeze him, he doesn't move his legs quicker. He just extends his stride. I mean, he looks like a horse that's got speed, but he might carry it a little bit too. And that's the thing about him. He's an athlete.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Big A at NairaBets.com.
We have our feature coming up from Aqueduct. It is the Damon Runyon as live racing action continues while most other sports throughout the country and most of the world have suspended play or canceled action. Horse racing at most major racetracks across the country continues, and we're bringing you all the live action today. And then next Friday through Sunday, we will be on with live horse racing on Fox Sports 1. We hope you join us all next weekend. Right now, we check in with Richard Migliori in New York for more on the Damon Runyon.
Well, the horses are getting ready to line up behind the starting gate, milling about a bit. They've got that mile chute here at Aqueduct, so they've got plenty of room back behind the 7-furlong pole where the gate is situated for this edition of the Damon Runyon Stakes. The one-horse Dream Bigger, I think he's the controlling speed. I think Post 1 simplifies things for Jockey Junior Alvarado. Just go ahead, go forward, try to control the race from the inside. Don't get fancy and take any chances. And he was really, really on his toes. Just, to me, a horse that looks revved up and certainly primed to come busting out of there. And the 6-horse, I got to say, guys, he won me over in the paddock, Prince of Pharaohs. He left the pony under Kendrick Carmouche, got a big gallop, which tells me, you know, he wants to have his mind in the game. And then he went back to his pony, hooked back up with him. You can see he's walking quietly, peacefully behind the starting gate. And I like that. I like that big warm-up. I don't know about you, Gary, but I used to love to leave the pony and let horses get a good gallop. They're athletes, and they need a good warm-up.
Yeah, Richie, I used to love getting away from the pony if they would let you. Here in California, for some reason, over the years, I don't know if they didn't think the jockeys were strong enough to hold them. They were afraid that they would run off with us. But you see it a lot more in the west or on the East Coast at all of the tracks, especially in New York. The jockeys warming their horses up by themselves. Of course, in Europe, none of the racehorses have ponies, lead ponies that take them to the gate. So they have a nice canter or gallop, open gallop sometimes. Get that adrenaline flowing, really get them loosened up, but get the adrenaline going and get a good blow into their lungs and let them catch their breath, get to the gate. And I used to love taking them to the gate by myself, or at least giving them a good gallop.
It's almost like that layup line in a basketball game. Just get going, get loose, get the limbs
Get the heart going if it's needed. There's certain horses that you didn't want to do that to. Their heart was already going about 90 miles an hour when they came on the racetrack, excited they were going to run.
Favorite in the Damon Runyon on the rail, that is Dream Bigger, one of a few with some speed in this race. This will be start number 2 of his 3-year-old campaign for Rudy Rodriguez. John Imbrial with the call. Damon Runyon, feature from Aqueduct.
And they're off. A hesitant beginning for number 3, Bourbon Bay, and he trails the field. Prince of Pharaohs. Now Silly Key moves up, and at the rail it's Dream Bigger. Silly Key, Dream Bigger are right together. They've got a length and a half on More Grateful in 3rd. Prince of Pharaohs on the outside is now in 4th. It's 2.5 lengths to Bourbon Bay, who has one horse beaten at this point, and that is the long shot in the field, Titan's Will. Dream Bigger, the 2-1 favorite, leads here by a half length. Silly Keys on the outside in 2nd, and the first quarter was run in 23 seconds as they move around the far turn. Dream Bigger by a head. Silly Key on the outside in 2nd, a little more than 2 to Prince of Pharaohs, and More Grateful. Those two race heads apart, 3rd and 4th, 4 lengths to Bourbon Bay and Titan's Will. Now Dream Bigger shakes clear here to lead by 2 lengths. More Grateful has moved into 2nd. On the outside is Prince of Pharaohs as Silly Key drops back. Half mile in 46 and 3/5 seconds. Dream Bigger has opened up by 5. Dream Bigger with the big lead and 1/8 of a mile to the finish. Then More Grateful. Bourbon Bay is coming on late on the outside, and a Prince of Pharaohs. But it is Dream Bigger and he put in a big performance today. Dream bigger, much the best in the Damon Runyon. 7 furlongs in 1 minute, 25 and 4/5 seconds.
Dream bigger, much the best in the Damon Runyon. Now 3 wins from 7 career starts for Rudy Rodriguez.
And an impressive win today, drawing off, let's sit just off the pacemaker there, Dream Bigger. But Silly Key doesn't like switching into that right lead. You know what? It doesn't matter. I set a track record on a horse named Sunny Blossom here years ago for trainer Eddie Gregson, going 6 furlongs. If you made him switch leads, he'd just kind of say, he'd switch, but he'd stop running. And I never messed with him. And Jose Lascano doing a good job of just leaving Silly Key alone and do his job.
2-1 goes off the favorite. So Dream Bigger, More Grateful, Bourbon Bay, 1, 2, 3 here in the Damon Runyon. This was an impressive performance. No one making up any ground at this point. Race basically over.
Yeah, and I thought that the 6-horse Prince of Pharaohs had a chance coming into this stretch, and Silly Key just drew away, opened up. It's Dream Bigger. I'm so sorry. That was Dream Bigger. I'm talking about the wrong horse here. Eyes are getting bad at 60, close to 60 years old, but Dream Bigger, impressive winner today, and Junior Alvarado.
Yeah, Junior Alvarado, Dream Bigger, favorite, winner of the Damon Runyon, and winning pretty impressively against this group at 7 furlongs. So we're going to take a break. We'll be back. Prices from this one, still the Nightcap to come from Aqueduct when we return here on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2.
Flatter. This prolific son of A.P. Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast. He's adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record, including Sovereign Award winner Avies Flatter. His yearlings have topped the Fasig-Tipton July sale 2 years in a row and sold up to $900,000 at Keeneland September. Success on the track, success in the ring. Flatter, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America's Best Racing is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Coming on strong.
Minute to stardom. On top, coming down to the final 16th, opening up a 2-length lead.
My love for you.
Wild About Star, shining big here in very one.
Oh, why did I wrong?
Testing 1, 2. The Star Guitar filly leads Champagne Diva close to home. It's testing 1, 2.
Feel my love for you. Coming on strong.
Songbird Beholder. You're watching America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Most of the sports world canceled, suspended horse racing. Most major racetracks continuing. A few tracks have canceled. State of Maryland canceling. Parks in Philadelphia has canceled. Sunland Park just announcing they too will suspend racing, but Aqueduct, Oaklawn Park, we're bringing you this afternoon. They continue to go with no fans in attendance, and Dream Bigger looked very impressive in this Damon Runyon victory.
It really did look impressive and hustled away from there, just like Richie Migliore said he would do, and it worked out for the best. And nice payoff there, $6, $4, and $2.80 for the show.
One more to come from Aqueduct on this Sunday afternoon card. It is a 6-furlong sprint, New York bred maiden special weight, and a couple of horses who each have a race under their belt. The two not far now from that first crop of American Pharaoh, and Ernie Banker on the outside by Central Banker, who's been very, very good at stud for John Kimmel. Those two look like it's sort of between those two maybe to get this last race.
Yeah, some well-bred ones there. Looking forward to watching Not Far Now in her second lifetime start.
Yeah, and Chad Brown with a first-timer as well. Gandy dancing the 4. Of course, he's always going to take support with a first-time starter in this race. Manny Franco on board the 4. So that is the Nightcap from New York coming up. And we had a big stakes race here yesterday without a crowd in the Beholder Mile. And Hard Not to Love, a 3-5 favorite in this race. Mike Smith, we had a chance to talk to earlier in the day. He was looking forward, obviously, to the mount here. She was so impressive last time out. She'd won 3 in a row. Now win streak came to an end. But first, let's look back at Beholder, and one that you might remember pretty well back in 2016.
One of the greatest races I rode in of all time, and not because she got her head down, got the head bob, a lucky head bob on the wire. 2 of the greatest fillies that we've seen run Beholder. I've said it and I'll say it again. I rode a lot of great fillies, a lot of great horses, but she was the best that I ever sat on her best day when she won the Pacific Classic. It was a great day, but her last race of her life, she saved the best for last, and it took all of what she had to beat the great Songbird. So I remember when we turned into the stretch, I said, all right, let's see what that 3-year-old filly can do with this 5-year-old or 6-year-old mare. And you know what? She liked it when I put her in tight. Songbird liked it, and I said, why did I do that? I went, oh, no, why did I do that? But anyway, got lucky, got the head bob, and it was a lot of fun. People were anticipating that type of stretch run, and the fans got to see what they wanted that day, and fortunately we got up and won by nose.
I mean, that was one of the great stretch duels really in Breeders' Cup history. That was so tremendous. What to you do you think stood out about Beholder and made her so great?
Her heart and her willingness to train. The biggest thing with Beholder, which Richard Mandela, one of the greatest trainers that I ever rode for, he's great with those fillies, and she wasn't easy to be around, especially early on in her career. She was the type of filly that she wanted to be the boss, and I would let her be the boss. And in agreement, she let me be the boss once the race started. And she became putty in my hands. The older she got, the more she listened to my direction, and she really calmed down. But that's what made her great, was that energy that she carried, and she learned to focus that energy all on the racetrack and when those gates opened.
Well, the Beholder Mile, as mentioned, run yesterday here at Santa Anita. Hard Not to Love of One-Eyed fame. 3-5 favorite in this race, trying to make it 4 victories in a row, but it was not to be.
No, and you know what? I was a little bit surprised to see her on the lead. She drew the 1 hole. I'm talking about Hard Not to Love, and she was setting some pretty solid fractions during the race. And Victor Espinoza on CC, he laid right on her shoulder and pressured her, and he had a ton of horse for Mike McCarthy. You see her wagging her tail coming through the stretch there. That's her. She does that all the time, but this filly was made out to be a very good filly last year, and she got injured in her last race that she ran in New York, and made it back. She won an allowance race in her comeback race. And that drew her in to yesterday with the big victory in the Beholder.
And her connections, they've been pleasantly surprised with how quickly she's come along. She's gone from allowance winner now to Grade 1 winner. And yesterday, in that win, by the way, her mother, it was Miss Houdini's 20th birthday. She wins on her dam's birthday, not too shabby.
And Miss Houdini, I rode her, her dam, Magical Maiden. Won some big race, won the Del Mar debutante on her, and several big races for her great trainer Mel Studi, and it's a great family.
Well, she's continuing the tradition. That was a big win, and Hard Not to Love. I mean, she has looked like she's been pretty special her last few starts.
Yeah, and I think we can look for bigger and better things from her. Look forward to seeing her throughout the summer. We might even see her up in Saratoga for one of the big ones there.
All right, that was yesterday from here in Southern California at Santa Anita. Cece with the upset win, wins at 4-1 over Hard Not to Love. Back at Oaklawn, 7th race is coming up next. In this race, entry-level allowance, 6 furlongs. Town Champ is right now the 9-5 favorite from a 7-2 morning line.
Wow.
Came back as a 6-year-old and has won the first 2 starts of his 6-year-old campaign for Steve Asmussen and has won both Gates of Wire.
Yeah, impressively. A little surprised at that big bet that's going on right there. I like the 5-horse a little bit here today. Courting a Kiss, Channing Hill aboard for Norman McKnight. It's got some speed early on. 3rd race off the layoff for Norman McKnight. So keep an eye on that one at a decent price at 10-1.
Yeah, that looks, talking about the 5 Courting a Kiss, who you were mentioning, that looks like the horse who's going to put pressure on the 1 Town Champ. Also the 9 Line of the World outside, big long shot, but has some speed. So maybe at least can be an impact in the race from that standpoint. As you look at the board here, Soaring Bird, trained by Al Stahl. Horse is actually going to make an equipment change today. Blinkers coming off, but a horse who maybe could benefit if a couple of horses do duel up front.
Yeah, definitely. So Blinkers coming off, like you said, and it's funny to see a 5-year-old gelding. He's worn blinkers as far back as I can see on the past performances here, and decides to take the blinkers off. And when a guy like Al Stahl does that, I think they're searching for something. You know, we've talked about that before. When we see that type of change this late in a horse's career, that means that there might be a little, what do I do next? What do I do to get that next little bit that we need? So try and change things up a little bit. Joe Talamo's ridden this gelding 2 times now, so knows Soaring Bird. Interesting, the 4-horse, Marketing King for Dwayne Lucas. 12-1 on the morning line right now, bet down to 5-1. So getting some action there as well.
Yeah, that's the 4 Market King. I know we're looking at the 5 right now, but we got to give a little credit to Dwayne Lucas too, who had Nadal in his barn. He was saying one of the reasons maybe my barn's become so popular at Oaklawn over the last few years, he says maybe I just have good coffee.
I think a little more than that. Bob Baffert and Dwayne Lucas, both from the same background, starting out with the quarter horses, moving into the thoroughbreds, and really changing things over the course of their careers. Wayne Lucas, the first guy that really started flying his planes and having satellite stables, horses on the East Coast, West Coast, and Midwest, all at the same time. That's how big he was, and he wasn't afraid to fly horses in for races. It was unheard of at the time. Horses would make intercontinental flights for big races from Europe, but for him to do it on a regular basis throughout the season, a lot of people thought that, man, these horses are going to be exhausted by the end of the year. You know what? I think they travel better than we do, and Bob Baffert has taken it to a whole nother level as far as what he's got in his barn right now. With all of his Derby horses. But yeah, he always sends his horses into Wayne's barn. Wayne telling yesterday morning, longtime assistant Randy Bradshaw, that this is the best Derby prospect that he's seen in his last 20 years. Nadal, yeah, wow. He was ponying him to the racetrack every day, and I told Bob, you better be careful. I think Wayne's trying to get that horse out from under you.
Look out. It's been great. I mean, 2 of these trainers, 2 of the most legendary trainers in the game, Hall of Famers, and to see that they become such good friends, it's been great for the game, too.
A lot of respect is Bob Baffert has for Dwayne Lucas, and they communicate a lot. They talk a lot. And I know that Wayne enjoys having those talks with Bob as much as Bob enjoys speaking with Wayne. I keep in contact with Wayne as much as I can, and you know, he was like a dad to me when I was away from my dad. When I came out here when I was younger, and I started riding a lot of horses for Wayne, took me under his wing. You know, he was tough on me, but you know, we built a relationship where he pretty much just turned me loose. No instructions. I knew what he wanted, and he knew that of me, that I was pretty sure what he wanted. He always wanted his horses up in the race. That was just his deal, put them into the race, and those are the type of horses, body types, that he bought, the same as Wayne Lucas. If you look at Bob Baffert's horses, they all have a look to them. Well, Wayne Lucas's do too, whether they can run or not. They're going to have the same body types.
Legendary Hall of Famer, two trainers that have changed the game, and now Bob Baffert with a chance this year to equal the all-time victory. It would be a 6th Kentucky Derby victory if he's able to get the job done this year. And even for a trainer who has done so much in this game, 2 Triple Crowns, 5 Kentucky Derbies, but to see how loaded he is with this group, it's even big for him how loaded he is this year.
Yeah, listen, I didn't think that a Triple Crown would ever happen, and Bob Baffert got 2 of them in a 3-year period, and that's, to me, incredible, and who knows, maybe this year he can pull it off again, but he's got a couple of horses he's got to worry about. We'll talk about later.
All right, loading up here for the 7th at Oaklawn. Vic Stauffer with the call, town champ with that speed inside from the rail.
They're off. Good start for Candy Cornell and Special Reserve, Town Champ, and Courting a Kiss. These 4 right across the racetrack. Market King actually broke with them, but now he is out sprinted. And 5th from Soaring Bird and Tiz McNamara, and the trailer is Light of the World. 2 of them kick on, Special Reserve and Town Champ, and they are going fast. Town Champ inside, Special Reserve outside. They've sprinted 2.5 lengths clear of Courting a Kiss and Candy Cornell. Soaring Bird is 5th with about 6 lengths to make up. He's a length in front of Market King, who stays at the rail. 5 back to Tiz McNamara, another 4 to Light of the World. They fly around the far turn, Special Reserve and Town Champ. They are right together. Candy Cornell, Soaring Bird, and Joe Talamo on the move. Market King, Courting a Kiss at the rail, many chances, and Special Reserve and Town Champ, joined by Candy Cornell and Soaring Bird. Candy Cornell and Town Champ. Now they kick on. Soaring Bird and Market King are 3rd and 4th, and Candy Cornell has taken the lead. Candy Cornell now 3 in front of Town Champ and Soaring Bird. This is 3 for Diodoro and Mojica. Candy Cornell. Candy Cornell won by 4. Town Champ was 2nd, Soaring Bird 3rd. Close for 4th between Market King and Courting a Kiss.
Big days. You heard from Robertino Diodoro, give him 3 on the afternoon. Candy Cornell, who'd been 1 for 16 coming in, gets the victory here. Faced a pretty nice one 2 starts back.
Yeah, and a different style today we see of Candy Cornell. He's had 5 seconds, and you worry about that. When a horse has started 16 times, they got more seconds than they do first. It kind of shows a trend, but different style today. Orlando Mojica taking over from David Cohen, and he comes from off the pace, draws off, and wins pretty easy.
Candy Cornell, this was a field with some talent in it.
Very
he
good
wins
field.
pretty easily.
5-year-old Chestnut, and by Candy Ride, well-bred, and finally maybe he'll get a roll going now and overcome running those seconds.
Candy Cornell, 5-year-old by Candy Ride. Orlando Mojica, Robertino Diodoro for a 3rd time today. Into the winner's circle. In the 7th at Oaklawn, we're going to take a break. We'll be back, more ahead. Move on to the 8th from Hot Springs, Arkansas. When we come back and hear more about Joe Talamo, moved his tack from Southern California to Hot Springs.
It's very exciting to see them come on out and performing and look just like him, act like him, sleep and eat like Run Happy. They're pretty nice horses. Right now they're fast and working, and it's exciting to see when they go out running.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Go from Railbird to Winner's Circle. With My Racehorse, you have access to top horses and trainers, backside tours, exclusive ownership experiences, and fast payouts to your online account. With shares starting as little as $100, the Winner's Circle is waiting for you. Go to myracehorse.com or download the My Racehorse app today to join the thousands who have already started their journey as a racehorse owner.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and NyraBets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With NyraBets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the NyraBets app or visit nyrabets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Big A at nyrabets.com.
Back on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. And Candy Cornell, 5-year-old son of Candy Ride, picks up just the second win of his career. 3-win afternoon for trainer Robertino Diodoro. Orlando Mojica on board for this victory as well.
Yeah, they can do no wrong right now, this combination. And nice return of 680 on Candy Cornell. Drew off, and the easiest of winners today.
$6.80 for the win. A special day at Oaklawn Park. It is Chindy Day. 26-year-old horse who was a fan favorite for years and years, who had a Silky Sullivan style of coming from dead last. This was a look at his victory in 1998 in the Count Fleet. 18 wins from 81 career starts, 5 of those stakes wins. He raced for 9 consecutive seasons at Oaklawn Park, retired at the age of 11, but still around for Steve Hobby as sort of his riding partner for over the last 20 years.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. Chindy is. He's still riding. This horse, he still will try and run off with you in the morning. I mean, he gets aggressive when they first take him out. He loves what he's doing. He's still got an attitude. He looks great there. Does that look like he's 26 years old? It's a super cool horse.
Well, Steve Hobby says still to this day, he looks like a big snowball, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Says he walks faster to the track every single time than he does walking back to the barn. He just loves it.
And Steve is a heck of a horseman, and he can ride. He doesn't get on his own horses anymore, but he did for years and years. And you got to stay alert when you're on Chindy's back. And I'm not just trying to blow this up. I spent a lot of time. He was my first stop every morning when I was riding at Oaklawn Park. First barn I'd go by, have coffee, and Chindy would be saddled up, ready to roll on those cold mornings of 2018. Coldest winter on record, of course, when I decided to go there for the wintertime. But had a lot of fun there. Great town.
And he's a fan. I mean, the fans absolutely love him. Steve Hobby gets asked about him all the time. Still going strong at 26 years old. Chindy Day at Oaklawn Park. We're going to check back in with Richard Migliore back in New York. He's going to talk more about the big one from yesterday and the undefeated Nadal with that victory in the Rebel.
That was some performance, Greg. And Nadal, it was like a barroom brawl, and he took on all comers and was the last man standing. He ran fast early, he ran fast in the middle, he ran fast late, and you got to love the tenacity and fight he showed, which is going to bode well for him as the races get tougher and bigger fields. I think there were some other stories to talk about, too. I'm not ready to give up on Basin. I thought he was in a bit tight from the 3/8 pole to the quarter pole, kind of had to change direction. Now, he was well beaten, but it was his first start back. And I think he can improve off that. After all, these are prep races. Ultimately, you'd like to win them, but you also want to move forward off of them. So I think Basin has an opportunity to step forward off of this effort, shaking off a bit of that ring rust. Let's not lose sight of the great ride by Tyler Bays on Accession to finish second. Big price for Steve Asmussen as well. But the story certainly was Nadal, a horse that had to be used a bit early to make sure he secured position and had to run every step of the way, and certainly something that you got to be excited about going forward. I was impressed, that's for sure.
And, you know, this was just the third start of his career. It was his first time going 2 turns. He's still very lightly raced, and he handled that pressure early. No parole, checked out of this race extremely fast. American Theorem challenged him very early, and that horse was nowhere to be found at the end of the race.
Yeah, he was coming off of a long layoff, and he was fresh. I don't think that was the plan, was to go out and hook a horse like Nadal early on, but that's what happened. And Richie said it best, barroom fight. There was a knockdown drag out, and he definitely was the last man standing, and I think he's the type of horse that's going to say, bring it on, boys, bring as much as you got.
He showed he could take a punch early and have plenty left late. Impressive performance. from Nadal and the Grade 2 Rebel, and Baffert just continues to be loaded on this road to the Kentucky Derbies. We're back at Aqueduct here for the Nightcap here coming up, and our favorite in this state-bred maiden special weight here on the outside. We talked a little bit earlier about this. The 2 with just 1 start under their belt, Not Far Now for Linda Rice, the 2. The 8, Ernie Banker for John Kimmel. Looks like it's those 2, but obviously Chad Brown with the first time, or the 4 you can't look past as well.
No, and the Chad Browns, they're going to get bet on just because it's Chad Brown. It's got Manny Franco's riding great right now. He always rides great, but you know, I like the 2 that have a race under their belt. Thing about Chad Brown, you know, I talked about Bob Baffert, and many of the top stables have enough ammunition in the barns that they can work these first-time starters a lot of times with horses, older horses that have experience, have won races. They get a good gauge on them, and the horse gets educated by working with better horses that just kind of carry them around there. So it's a big advantage. But John Kimmel with Ernie Banker, he should improve today. Got a good education last time out, closed some ground, got beat 2 lengths. Junior Alvarado taking over today.
Oh, there's the son of American Pharaoh, that 2, Not Far Now. Start number 2 for trainer Linda Rice. Let's go back to Mig for more.
Thanks, Greg. And, you know, talking about first-time starters, obviously Gandy Dancing, coming from Chad Brown. He looks great. He's been training in South Florida, so he brought that Florida tan with him, if you will, and really a very great attitude, very cool horse, got obviously a good mind on him. The 8-horse Ernie Banker has that race under his belt, has the advantageous outside post, got enough speed to put himself in the race. But I thought it was interesting, the 2-horse, Not Far Now, making his second start, as you guys mentioned, son of American Pharaoh. He's missing his right eye, or his outside eye. Spoke with trainer Linda Rice. He lost it in a training accident last summer. So it's not something that he had to learn to live with his whole life, although he seems like a very cool customer. Now, horses are also equipped. Mother Nature has given them a third eyelid. It's basically a membrane that protects the cornea, almost acts like a windshield wiper. But you always have to be careful with horses with one eye about how much kickback they get. And as much speed as he showed first time after getting off poorly and kind of stumbling, he might not have to worry about it. Maybe he just goes right for the lead.
Meg, thanks. I mean, we talked about that with Hard Not to Love as well. She had an impressive 3-race win streak. It came to an end in the Beholder Mile yesterday, but she's been exceptionally talented, just one eye as well.
Yeah, and I mean, these horses, especially if they're raised like that, they get used to it. Their surroundings, they count on hearing, and don't forget, most of them can 360-degree vision, but yeah, they get used to it.
Chad Brown, first-timer, moving in. Last to load, Ernie Banker, the 8. Let's go to John Embrial, the finale from Aqueduct here on Fox Sports 2.
And they're off. Awkward start for number 7, Black Irish, and he trails the field. Not Far Now is out for the early lead with Unbridled John racing in second as Midnight Whiskey moves up at the rail. Gandy Dancing is next in 4th. Ernie Banker, the favorite, on the extreme outside and racing in 5th, dropping back a spot there and passed by Farragut. Then it's Black Irish, and trailing the field is Senrima. Down on the inside, it's Midnight Whiskey, Not Far Now alongside. The quarter win in 22 and 4/5 seconds. The favorite, Ernie Banker, has gone to the back of the pack and is being pulled up. Not Far Now, Midnight Whiskey, and here comes Gandy Dancing now. Gandy Dancing is moving up from 3rd. Then it's Unbridled John in 4th, followed by Farragut, and they're at the top of the stretch. The half in 47-1. Gandy Dancing has taken over. Gandy Dancing in front and clear by 3. Then Not Far Now, Midnight Whiskey, Unbridled John, and Farragut on the extreme outside. Gandy Dancing. Dandy in his debut. Gandy Dancing won by a half dozen lengths. Farragut was second and a 3-way photo for 3rd.
What a performance. First time out for Gandy Dancing, the son of Claiborne sire Flatter, who was sold for $210,000 Saratoga August of 2018. I don't know what spot they picked next. This was so impressive.
Well, I'm going to put you in a spot. I'm going to ask you what you asked me as he crossed the finish line.
I asked you, Wood Memorial next?
I'll tell you what, when I saw him come into the screen there, it looked like a monster, a man against boys, and he ran away like a man against boys there. And the gallop out, I mean, he threw his ears up and was very happy pulling up, and that was impressive. Bob Baffert, not the only one that can unleash a monster the first time out.
Oh, that was ultra impressive. A state-bred race. This was his first start. Sprinting 6 furlongs, 1 turn. I would expect maybe be a little more conservative than that, but this horse may have a future.
You know, and this New York breeding program is, it's gotten big. They've gotten more powerful. Used to be when you saw New York bred, you can't compete with the big boys. Well, they can, and this one will. I can guarantee you that. If I include distance, no problem. The further, the better, it looks like to me. He's reaching strong there, taking in hand late, just keeping a little bit busy, just his mind on business through the wire, but super impressive win.
Gandy dancing at 5-2. We know how dangerous this barn is with really anything they send out. Of course, Chad Brown, he broke through in the Preakness a few years ago with his victory in the Triple Crown. Might be a little late in the stages to try and move on with this one, though, but we don't know what's going to happen with the Triple Crown just yet.
That's what I was just going to say. A lot of things are changing very, very quickly, not only in the United States, but in the world. And in the world of horse racing, it's changing. We know that Churchill will not run the Kentucky Derby without fans there. It's America's race. Everybody loves it. And with restrictions going on and building right now, anything can happen in the thoroughbred industry as far as where this horse like this, it may give him an opportunity to get a couple races in him prior to the Derby if it is postponed.
$7.60. That was fun to watch. Son of Flatter gets the win for Chad Brown. Wise Racing and Manny Franco. Big Sunday afternoon. He gets 3 wins on the card. Photo for show that goes to another first-timer. If I include there for Rodu Rodriguez, Sanrema getting up for 3rd. But Gandy dancing, closing this one out in very impressive fashion. We've talked throughout the afternoon about some of the big performances from Saturday. We were treated to a great card at Hot Springs, Arkansas at Oaklawn Park yesterday, including Serengeti Empress, last year's Kentucky Oaks winner, looking sensational, and Connections saying no bones about it. We're going to go to the front. We're going to utilize what we do best, Serengeti Empress's speed.
And it worked out just fine for him, and no bones picked about where she's going next, and that's the Apple Blossom. I believe that's $1 million race, and that's what she'll be headed for next, Grade 1. Joe Talamo aboard Serengeti Empress. It was a flawless race for her. It could have been a disastrous race for her with the loose horse, but didn't bother Serengeti Empress at all. She had a loose horse come up on her shoulder quite early into the turn. She handled it just fine. Joe Talamo handled it just fine. So fun race to watch and fun to see her strut her stuff once again for Tom Amoss.
6 1/4 length win. So that Grade 1 Apple Blossom next on her calendar, that's going to be April 18th. She's actually, I talked to Tom Amoss a little bit earlier this morning. She's on her way back to New Orleans. But this is how this race started. Emma, who's the other speed in the race. I don't think anywhere near as quick as Serengeti Empress, but things immediately over for her.
Yeah, and first and foremost, Richard Aremia, her rider, he was unhurt. He's fine. He walked under his own power. But Serengeti Empress, so quick from the gate. Joe Talamo was not aware that there was a loose horse running in the middle of the racetrack. And with that sloppy racetrack, these horses' hooves make a lot more noise than a day when it's not sloppy. So Joe hears this horse coming up, and he's going to take a peek over and say, who is moving right here? And when he takes that peek right there, He knows that there's no rider on there, and he's praying that that loose one doesn't come and lay on Serengeti's hip. He's given Serengeti a nice breather right now, and then watch when he pushes the button. You'll see her accelerate right about here. Joe moves his hands, and she hits that gear, and the race is long gone and over. She's just going to widen from here.
Most talented horse that Tom Amoss has ever had in his barn. Gave him the biggest win of his career in that Kentucky Oaks last year, and continuing to deliver now in her 4-year-old campaign.
Yeah, and with what I saw yesterday, she's only going to improve off of this race. Big confidence builder for after that last race at Sam Houston, and I can't wait to see her running the Apple Blossom. And I think Tom's saying, bring on all comers.
Well, yes, I mean, this was a field that was loaded with some big-time talent. There was another Grade 1 winner in here, a multiple graded stakes winner as well, and she absolutely put that field away.
Yeah, she was in a different class yesterday, and when she's on her game, as she is right now, and I'm sure that Tom's got a schedule mapped out for her to get her to the Breeders' Cup at the end of the year. He's got a lot of options with her, but he'll treat her with like a fine piece of jewelry, and that's what she is. She's a very special filly, and like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing her compete the rest of the year.
Well, Joe Talamo was aboard for that victory, and from the very beginning of his career, Talamo flashed incredible talent, winning the Eclipse Award as the nation's top apprentice. At the same time, he was trying to establish himself in this industry. He was also wooing a beautiful young lady who would eventually become his wife, making career sacrifices for love along the way. Here's Nancy Holsis with more.
Joe Talamo and Elizabeth Ellis were just teenagers when they met shortly after he started riding in Southern California. Elizabeth grew up around horse racing. Her father, Ron Ellis, is a trainer.
I mean, my one rule growing up was you're not allowed to date a jockey. And I had no interest in dating a jockey, so it was fine with me.
I mean, she was so pretty, I didn't really care. So, so I would always see her after I would win a race.
And jockey Joe Talamo.
So that was cool.
I mean, he also said I wasn't allowed to date you.
Yeah, that didn't.
For a while. But he was very persistent, and my dad said, if he still wants to go out with you during Del Mar, which was like a couple months later, then you can go on a date with him. And I said, perfect.
Persistence. Persistence, baby. The year before, I couldn't go to her junior prom because we raced Friday night racing, but her senior prom, she said she'd really like to go and it'd be important. So I told my agent, and we were doing really, really good at the time. Man, look, I gotta go to this senior prom. It's on a Friday night. You do it, but just go tell the trainers that you're gonna ride for. I mean, they were all, you know, really, really live horses. So I went kind of hat in hand. I thought it was the funniest thing. They said, oh, of course, have a good time. I think I ended up riding more for them because they thought it was a kick that I took off from racing and did that.
Close your eyes and show me what's inside your soul.
And it was fun. We had a good time. I did have to wake up at 4:15 the next morning and go to work for Mike Mitchell at Hollywood.
For 3 years, Elizabeth and Joe would balance a long-distance relationship focusing on their own careers before deciding being apart was too much. They married in 2015. Today, Joe's riding full-time at Oaklawn, and they're experiencing life as a family in Hot Springs, Arkansas, with their 2 boys, Vincent and Dominic.
He's such a great dad, you know, like a big kid himself, so he's always playing with them and very hands-on.
Yeah, we're kind of growing up at the same time, it seems.
Come on, fish.
Just one time.
I know, just one time.
They love doing races. You would think it would wear them out, but they got that Energizer bunny in them. They keep on going. Oh, I can't wait to go to work in the morning, man. That's easy, going to work at 5:30 and working 6, 7 horses compared to watching these two. Look at them.
He is such a talented young rider, and early on, I think just his maturity kind of stood out. I got to see both those two as they were kind of growing up and meeting each other along the way, and they're a great partnership.
Maturity, he's still a little kid. Now, Joe Talamo, great guy, great to be around in the jocks room. There's never a dull moment. Loves to play his cards. Don't play cards with Joe Talamo. The house never loses.
So that's just all facade. Behind the scenes,
oh yeah,
he lets loose.
Nah, he's a great guy. He likes to have his fun, but Elizabeth does too. They're a great match and beautiful family.
And he's been tremendously successful moving from Southern California to Hot Springs, Arkansas. We check in now with Nancy Holthus with the scene in Hot Springs, running these races with no one on hand. And we know, Nancy, Hot Springs this time of year is one of the places to be in the game.
Yeah, the place is always at Oaklawn to be during race meet. The town grows, the vibe grows, and it was definitely disappointing to have it happen on Rebel Weekend. The attendance at Oaklawn typically can surpass the population of Hot Springs, Arkansas. Unfortunately, the races were run yesterday spectator-free, as that is happening across the country. Fortunately, unlike a lot of sports, we didn't have to cancel. We were able to continue on with the show, but definitely a very different vibe in the paddock, as the horses didn't have fans greeting them when they entered in to get saddled. The jockeys came out without welcomes from the fans and the patrons, and not hearing those roars and the cheers when horses were coming down the stretch was a little sad, for lack of a better word. But, you know, as they say in show business, the show must go on, but unfortunately, that did have to hit us on Rebel Weekend. But still, great races were run yesterday, and a fantastic package with Joe Talamo. He won 4 on yesterday's card, 2 of those in stakes. The Essex Night Ops for trainer Brad Cox, and the Azeri with Serengeti Empress. Joe Talamo rides my top pick in here with Brad Cox. That is MG Warrior. Could be sitting on a peak race, making the 4th start since late March. I like that the barn is adding blinkers. There is sky-popping 31% with that equipment addition, and I like that 4 furlong work on March 7th of 47-2. Also, the number 5, Chris and Dave, really exits a key race, 3rd last out at 14-1 in a very tough allowance optional 80 at 1 mile and a 16th. Take a look at the top 2, though. Night Ops won the Essex just yesterday, and Sky Promise won the 1.5 mile Temperance Hill just on Friday. So a key race is a major understatement. Stuart Elliott in the irons. He was aboard for this horse's last win back in early November against starter optional 15 at Remington Park. A very tough race, but you are getting slight favoritism. They're kind of going back and forth, but slight favoritism right now on the 1 of MG Warrior. Joe Talamo looking for his 3rd win on the program.
Nancy, yeah, thank you. MG Warrior 9-5 on the board right now, with Talamo is having just a tremendous meet moving to Hot Springs. And this horse faced the 2-back Pioneer Spirit, who was 3rd in that Essex yesterday. Faced Remembering Rita last time out, who's a graded stakes winner in the past. So MG Warrior's kept some pretty good running lines as well.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the 7 horse. It's coming out of the same race as Chris and Dave that was won by Night Ops. The horse was coming off of a layoff from April of 2019 going into that race, and he ran a credible 5th. He was only beaten 3 1/4 lengths. He was attending the pace, just off the pace that day, and Martin Garcia rode him. He's going to his number 1 rider today, Ricardo Santana, so I'm looking for big things from Shiver Me Timbers as well, and you're getting kind of a bargain at 7-2, I think.
Yeah, he's part of a duo of Steve Asmussen runners in this race. Asmussen also standing out. Timeline, the 9, who's a Grade 3 winner in the past. He's making his 6-year-old return to the races, but it's MG Warrior from the rail. Joe Talamo for Brad Cox, the favorite. Here's the 8th from Oaklawn, Vic Stauffer with the call on Fox Sports 2.
They're off. Awkward start for both MG Warrior and Chris and Dave. The two favorites broke last and second to last. Mr. Banjo Man and Gordy Florida are 1-2. Then comes Petrov to the outside and Exterpreter. Then Shiver Me Timbers, Chris and Dave, and Timeline. And MG Warrior is at the back of the pack. Mr. Banjo Man and Orlando Mojica take the lead to the backstretch from Gordy Florida. Mr. Banjo Man a neck in front. Gordy Florida is second by a length and a half to a lineup of 3. Petrov at the rail, Shiver Me Timbers, and Exterpreter 3 wide. And here's Tyler Bays to put Exterpreter clearly into third and a length and a half off the lead. Then it's 3 back to Timeline and Chris and Dave, and MG Warrior is the trailer, 6 lengths first to last. The finish line is the 16th pole, and Gordy Florida and Mr. Banjo Man are right together. Gordy Florida puts his head in front. Mr. Banjo Man is second by 2 lengths to Exterpreter and Petrov. MG Warrior is moving up 3 wide, and there goes MG Warrior all the way up to 4th now, and he's on the move. Chris and Dave stays at the rail. Timeline is next, and Shiver Me Timbers is the trailer, and Gordy Florida has put away Mr. Banjo Man, but must immediately deal with the ever-present MG Warrior to the outside, and we have a new leader. MG Warrior takes it over. Gordy Florida has backed out. Timeline is running a big race. He's alongside MG Warrior. Chris and Dave has 2.5 to make up. Final furlong, and MG Warrior struts his stuff. He's now 2 in front. To the outside, Chris and Dave might get into second, but he will not catch the winner, and the winner is MG Warrior. 3 wins, Joe Talamo. MG Warrior beat Chris and Dave. Timeline was 3rd, and finishing 4th was Gordy Florida.
3 wins today, as you heard from Vic Stauffer, for Joe Talamo. MG Warrior did not break well in this race and overcomes it to get the win.
Yeah, that's what happens, though, when you're on a roll as a jock. When horses don't break, hey, change of plans. Let's go to plan B here. He was patient. This horse, he's never been that far back and still run well. The last time he was back towards the back of the pack, he was beaten a long ways. He did, on one other occasion, come from well back to win. That was here at Oaklawn Park on a fast racetrack, not a muddy racetrack, but no panic in Joe Talamo. Joe Talamo swoops him around the turn and was put to bed early in the stretch because of that race finishing at what is normally the 16th pole. That's the first wire there.
Brad Cox, Joe Talamo, Chrysalis Stables team up as MG Warrior overcomes that poor break, gets the job done in the 8th from Oaklawn Park. We're going to step aside for a timeout, so the Nightcap to come from Oaklawn, and we will talk more Rebel recap. It was a Rebel yell for Bob Baffert. 7th victory in that Derby prep for Baffert, and Nadal remains undefeated, and it's on to Kentucky.
Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America's Best Racing is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Master horse racing with the power of daily racing form. DRF has helped players win at the races for 125 years. Now the information you trust is better than ever. Get exclusive late-breaking news from our reporters at tracks across the country. Position yourself to win by adding Buyer speed figures and the new DRF formulator to your handicapping arsenal. Go to drf.com/NYRA today. Use coupon code DRF2020 to get a free formulator card and start winning.
An undefeated graded stakes winner on the track, Algorithms has sired over 70% winners from starters. His top runners include multiple stakes winner and grade 3 victor Recruiting Ready, multiple stakes winner and graded stakes performer Taylor Spirit, and juvenile stakes winner South Bend. In the Pennsylvania Derby, Algorithms notched his first Grade 1 winner with a thrilling victory by Matt Wizard. In the ring, his juvenile sold up to $275,000. Algorithms, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2, no stopping MG Warrior today. Picks up the 5th win of his career. Brad Cox, Joe Talamo team up.
I've seen Joe on a roll before out here in California. I've seen him ride with confidence, but I've never seen him ride like he is right now. He's aggressive. He's figured out this racetrack like he's been riding there for 20 years instead of just his first full season. And when I say figured out, yeah, it's round like all of them, but it's not the same as all of them. It's got its little nuances, and Joe seems to have figured it out pretty quickly.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
fun to
every
watch.
track is different and has certain ways and tricks, right, about it?
Yeah, and this track can change so quickly according to how much water is on the racetrack and how cold it is. And, you know, during the wintertime, when it freezes, when it does freeze, there's nothing they can do about it. They can't put chemicals on that racetrack. It's a national park. So they're not allowed to do anything like that that will invade the environment. So little things like that, the surface does change, and he's gotten used to those changes.
$5.60 for the win for MG Warrior, and it's been a seamless transition from Southern California to Hot Springs, Arkansas for Joe Talamo. He only had 6 career mounts at this racetrack before he made the move there full time. Right now he is chasing and right hot on the heels of Ricardo Santana Jr.
Yeah, we had 3 jockeys that were from Southern California that have moved out there, all 3 of them in the jockey standings in the top 10. And that's Joe Talamo, Tyler Bays, and Martin Garcia. So pretty cool that they've gone out there and had the success they've had. We've got a shortage of horses here in California where some of the jockeys, the top jockeys, weren't getting the opportunities. The money is huge in Hot Springs, so I'm happy for those guys that they've gone out there and having a lot of success. And it's a pretty cool place to live. Having gone through it before, it's different, but it's very enjoyable.
And we talk a lot about how much fun and what a scene Saratoga is, and this has that same sort of feel. That town really rallies around. It's all about Oaklawn Park in Hot Springs.
Yeah, it really is, especially during racing season. All the people, majority of the people that are there on the weekends, the locals, and they call the folks from Little Rock locals. There are a number of owners that have horses there that live in Little Rock. But also the locals in the restaurants, they know their horses. They'll give you your opinion. When I was there to cover the Southwest Stakes, I was driving to the hotel or the racetrack in an Uber, and the fella, he knew who I was. He knew all my stats, but he also knew all the horses that I should be talking about on television during the broadcast that day. Gave his opinions, who he was going to bet on and who I should bet on, who I should put the United States that was watching on Fox Sports that day, the Uber driver's opinion.
How do you wind up doing?
He did good.
Nice. I would
we
think
were
so.
We were on the same page on a few of them.
Well, yesterday, a big day, obviously. It was Rebel Day at Hot Springs, Arkansas, and Nadal did not disappoint. Big performance. We've talked a lot about the pressure he took from a couple of runners early, and we're going to take a look at the entire race right now in its entirety. From yesterday, Grade 2 Rebel Stakes on the road to the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, right there, he breaks a little bit flat-footed, and unusual that you see Joel Rosario hustle a horse early, but he only had to hustle him, shake his reins for about 3 strides, and Nadal was up underneath him. And he's being pestered a little bit right here from an undefeated horse that backs off him a little bit right now. Then American Theorem coming off of a layoff. He comes up and starts to tussle. And right here I said, man, these guys are going entirely way too fast. And Joel's just kind of moving his hands with him, not really putting pressure on him, but the other horse still pestering him. And they've drawn off by a margin of about 6 lengths right here, Greg. And I was pretty sure that he was going to hit a brick wall coming into the stretch.
Well, how much does that take out of a horse to have to handle that kind of heat early on in a race?
Well, it depends on the athlete, who they are, what they are, and, he hasn't raced enough times, really. I mean, this was his second out, so you're like, how's he going to handle this challenge? Actually, it's his third out. He took a challenge like that in his previous race, but it was only 7 furlongs, and he handled that battle fine. This was his first time going 2 turns. Here they come at him again, and I thought he was going to wilt and get beat right here.
Well, and just to show you what that can do to you, the horse who put that pressure on American Theorem, he wound up dropping back, finished second last in this race. So it did him in, but yet Nadal with more in the tank and now able to hold off yet another challenge from a horse coming from off the pace in Accession.
Accession, yeah, he looked like he was going to run right past him, and then when Nadal felt him out there, it was just like watching the human Nadal in match point, and you think that he's beat, and he comes back and can't get past him.
He is well named because he's as
well
gutsy as Rafael is on the tennis courts. 3 for 3 now in his career. This was a big one for him because it was the first test around 2 turns, first start outside the state of California, and it looks like the plan is now stay through Arkansas on that road to the Derby for the Arkansas Derby.
Yeah, and as far as I'm concerned, he's battle tested now. I mean, he's gone through this twice. We've seen it, and after what we saw in San Vicente when he had that battle, they do one of 2 things. They either regress or they move forward, and he obviously moved forward. He trained well after that race. It didn't knock him out, and reports on Nadal right after that race is that he wasn't even tired, according to Bob Baffert. So that's a great sign there, and I'm looking forward to just another one of Bob Baffert's charges, what he decides he's going to do for his next race.
Yeah, Baffert thought that might have been the best news of all, that he seemed like he had more in the tank when the race was over, so maybe the 1.25 miles will not be an issue for him. After the race, Nancy Holthus caught up with winning rider Joel Rosario.
Now, Joel, you piloted him in the Grade 2 San Vicente in his last start. He did stretch out. How much have you seen him progress, and how different of a horse was he today?
Yeah, he handled everything well. You know, he broke there, he broke fine, got him there. Looked like, you know, we're gonna get the speed going with the horse in the outside a little bit, but he relaxed nice, and then he just have another gear to him for, you know, so for going the first time in alone, so that was impressive, yeah.
Well, dueling with American Theorem, his Southern California counterpart early on, lightning fractions were set. Kind of surprised that he hung on, and kind of looked like he kicked into another gear and rebroke in the lane.
Yes, he did. He did. Like I said, he really have something extra in the end. So, yeah, that was very impressive. So, thank you to Bob Baffert and then his, you know, connection, the owners and everybody to the opportunity.
Well, we talk so much about Joel Rosario on this program and what he maybe the strongest finisher in the entire game. So when you see him on the lead with a horse going into the stretch, you got to feel pretty good that there's more left in the tank.
Yeah, definitely. He's one of the greatest judges of pace in the game. In my eyes, he's very adaptable as a jockey. Sometimes he's up close when you don't think he's going to be up close, and vice versa. Sometimes he's further back, but he is a great judge of pace. And to see what he was doing going down the backside when that so-called speed duel was going on, he was actually enjoying it himself. He was nudging on him a little bit. He wasn't sending him hard. He hadn't gone to the full-out drive, the Joel Rosario drive yet, but he was letting him and making him, saying, you know, let's see how much heat you can put on me and what you can withstand. Talking about the horse to his outside, American Theorem, he couldn't sustain it, couldn't handle it. And when Joel called upon him coming into the stretch, he responded. He responded again. When the big long shot came to his outside, I was a little bit worried because that horse was so far away from him. I didn't think that he could sense it, but he did. Joel went to the Joel finish and knuckled on him pretty good, and he responded to it.
It reminded me watching that race a little bit, because it would happen to be, for me, the first time I ever went to Saratoga, but when Rachel Alexandra beat older horses in the Woodward, because she took multiple punches from horses that came at her that day and still just kept fending everyone off.
Yeah, and it takes a special horse to be able to do that. Remember, this was only his 3rd race of his career, so he's shown a lot of maturity with each race, growing maturity, and he's only going to improve. But he's still got to face some other good ones. in the Bob Baffert barn. I wonder how close their stalls are to each other, if they eyeball each other and sense. I think they do sense when there's another strong athlete around them. So it's going to be interesting seeing them finally line up.
We don't even know if he's the best in the barn yet. I would love to see a match race of Bob Baffert's Kentucky Derby contenders. Just go head to head to head. It would be pretty incredible.
That's what we might see, but at the end of the show, I'll tell you one that they're going to have to worry about that's not in the Bob Baffert barn.
Uh-oh. All right, we will wait for that. Well, Nadal, undefeated. He, of course, is the son of Claiborne stallion Blame. Blame, star-studded. Part of that Claiborne star-studded stallion roster. He was a star on the racetrack, of course, ending his career, handing Zenyatta the only defeat of her career in one of the most thrilling Breeders' Cup Classics that we've ever seen. At stud, he continues to make a name for himself, witnessed by Nadal's Rebel win on Saturday.
Blame's great. You know, he's, if he were human, he'd be captain of the football or basketball team. He's just got that swagger. He's confident in his abilities. Just a nice guy to be around. He would definitely be the quarterback of the football team.
Blame's a very intelligent horse like Warfront, very good to be around, good disposition, a good breeding horse, seems to listen to every order that you give him. A beautiful horse, a beautiful made horse.
Blame had a breakout year in 2018. It was a year that we were kind of always hoping for and anticipating. He had a few Grade 1 winners, a lot of stakes horses, a lot of graded stakes winners. You know, he was standing for $25,000 2 years ago. We cut his fee in half to $12,500, and in order to get a full book. And subsequently, he went on to have his breakout year, and now we were able to raise him back up to $30,000. You know, he's finally proven to be the sire that we always hoped he would be.
He's had a great year last year, and he's having another good year this year, and we've just got to keep it going.
You know, I was at Churchill when he won the Breeders' Cup Classic. It's an image in my mind that it'll never go away, the feeling there. And now, you know, to watch his offspring racing and you're pulling for them, it's just awesome. I kind of treat him the same way as I treat my kids, you know. That's how I kind of look at him. He's one of my boys.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Big A at NairaBets.com.
Smiling Tigers Championship sire performance continues. Each of his first 3 crops has produced a Horse of the Year, including California Horse of the Year Spiced Perfection and 2019 champion 2-year-old male El Tigre Terrible. 14 six-figure earners, including 7 with single-season earnings surpassing $100,000 in 2019. California's #1 second crop sire in 2018 and now #1 third crop sire of 2019. Smiling Tiger, standing at Harris Farms. Visit SmilingTigerStallion.com for more information. It pays to be Calbred.
Back on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Our show brought to you in part by Run Happy. Never lost in his career while sprinting, did it all while racing medication-free. He was a special talent, and he now stands at stud at a legendary stall #1 at Claiborne Farm. Most of the sports world canceled or suspended with what's happening with the coronavirus. Horse racing at most major racetracks continues without fans present. We're bringing you live coverage today, of course, and next Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're back with more live racing action on Fox Sports 1. We hope you join us Friday through Sunday this upcoming week for more live action. Look at the Louisiana Derby, and this is the only game in town next weekend with Sunland Park canceling. In terms of Derby preps next weekend.
Yeah, it's a great race. Got a couple of horses, Modernist, that won division of the Risen Star very impressively for Billy Mott. Billy Mott having won his first Kentucky Derby last year via disqualification. I'm sure he'd like to cross the finish line first, but I thought it was a very nice, hard fought. He was hounded on the lead the entire way, very similar to what we saw with Nadal, not going near as fast. Fractions were fairly slow, but still, when you're hooked early on, getting that pressure, it can play with a young horse's mind, and he responded to it the right way. He took some riding, but I thought he was impressive, and I look for him to step forward. In the meantime, Enforceable, a horse that was second in the second division, he had a nightmare trip. He was back in the pack a long ways, going into the far turn, had nowhere to go. He tried to go in, he was swung out, had to swing about 7 wide coming into the stretch, and he's just eating up ground. Looks like a horse that's going to enjoy the extended distance of the Louisiana Derby, which is 1 mile and 3/16, not a mile and, this is the only prep that's 1 mile and 3/16, just 1/16 of a mile shorter than what the Kentucky Derby is, and I think he'll enjoy that.
Well, they changed that distance this year. Here's a look. So Sunland Derby, they have canceled. So just the Louisiana Derby next weekend in terms of Derby points races. Then the UAE Derby, Florida Derby, the Wood, the Bluegrass Santa Anita Derby. Those are some 100-point races. Keep in mind, though, we're waiting to see what is going to happen with Churchill Downs and the running of the Kentucky Derby. They are expected to announce a decision this upcoming week, because that is a race that they have said they are not going to run without fans present, because that is such a big part of the experience.
Right, and what's that going to do to these major Derby preps? They're still going to need points to get into the Kentucky Derby, and these races are going to be run earlier than what the trainers had expected if they are postponed a bit, but we've got to just wait and see how this plays out until the end of the week.
All right, it's going to be a big week news-wise in terms of what happens in Louisville, Kentucky. Still have another race coming up from Oaklawn. We will bring it to you when we return. Stay with us. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2.
Warfront. This son of Danzig ranks among the world's elite sires, with Grade 1 winners on dirt and turf, and star performers both at home and abroad. Warfront's success as an international super sire is unmatched. Recent Grade 1 winners include Omaha Beach and Preakness Stakes hero War of Will. In the auction ring, Warfront was the #1 sire by highest average at Keeneland September, with yearlings commanding prices up to $2.9 million. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Go from Railbird to Winner's Circle. With My Racehorse, you have access to top horses and trainers, backside tours, exclusive ownership experiences, and fast payouts to your online account. With shares starting as little as $100, the Winner's Circle is waiting for you. Go to myracehorse.com or download the My Racehorse app today to join the thousands who have already started their journey as a racehorse owner.
This is a Run Happy Colt out of Pledge Pen that we brought here to the OBS March sale. We felt he was a star physical, very good training horse, and although he's on the big side, he's got a lot of speed, and we feel like he'll be an early, precocious type of horse.
Just a real straightforward, nice filly. Her precociousness, to be quick early, being sound, good-minded, checks all the boxes. We're just hoping the market receives her well.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on America's Day at the Races, we are live in Hot Springs, Arkansas at Oaklawn Park, loading up for race 9. This maiden special weight, 2 turns, mile and a 16th. Cherokee Maiden the 5. Off that last out performance, the horse to beat the 8-5 favorite on the board. But Cherokee Maiden with a repeat of that last out effort. That was the 3-year-old debut for this filly. It's going to be awfully tough here. Vic Stauffer with the call, 9th from Oaklawn Park.
They're at the post. They're off. Cherokee Maiden broke very well and goes to the front. Looks like Martin Garcia doesn't really want it, but he's got it. Cherokee Maiden to the front from Strong Flag in second. Beach Time is at the rail in a third. Then comes Cloudbuster and Glamour Girl in a tight and tough spot on heels at the clubhouse turn. Then She's Extremely Hot in Arima, and the trailer is #Maiden. To the backstretch they run with Cherokee Maiden just in front of Strong Flag. Cherokee Maiden leads it by a half length. Strong Flag is second, 3/4 of a length to a tugging Beach Time. Joe Talamo just took a hold of her. She did not like it. Threw her head in the air, and she's now back to 4th. Just inside of her goes Glamour Girl. Then to the outside, and Malibu Marley, followed by Cloudbuster with 4.5 lengths to make up. She's Extremely Hot joins her. Arima and #Winner at the back of the pack as they run to the half-mile pole. No excuses for the favorite Cherokee Maiden as she goes into the far turn. A 2-length leader over Strong Flag in second. Beach Time is now settled down. She's third at the rail and 2.5 lengths off the lead. She's Extremely Hot and Malibu Marley have 4 to make up. Then comes Glamour Girl, #Winner, Cloudbuster, and Arima. They round the far turn. Cherokee Maiden and Strong Flag getting closer in second. Cherokee Maiden leads by a length. Strong Flag is second, now by 3.5 lengths. These two are getting away at the top of the stretch. Then She's Extremely Hot. Here comes Strong Flag outside of Cherokee Maiden. Cherokee Maiden ahead in front. Strong Flag alongside and on the attack, and now Strong Flag has taken over the lead. Cherokee Maiden is battling from the inside, but Strong Flag is inching away, and now she's 2 lengths in front of Cherokee Maiden in second. Glamour Girl is third. Strong Flag in front. Strong Flag won by 3. Cherokee Maiden second. Glamour Girl third, and Malibu Marley finished 4th.
Third time the charm for Strong Flag out of the Steve Asmussen barn with his main man, Ricardo Santana Jr. aboard. Breaks her maiden career start number 3.
Yeah, and she was impressive. Like the muddy going today. Strong ride from Ricardo Santana on Strong Flag.
So you mentioned it's not just all about Bob Baffert on this road to the Triple Crown. There's someone else out there that has caught your eye. Who is that?
Well, it's not just me. 'Tis the law for Barkley Tag. Same connections as Funny Side. Funny Side did win the Kentucky Derby. So I'm really looking forward to 'Tis the Law coming back in the Florida Derby. So that's the one to keep your eye on. Love the Bafferts, but I love 'Tis the Law. I love what I see in him. I think he's going to continue to move forward. His last race was a huge race in the Fountain of Youth, and so that's what I'm talking about. Number 3 horse right there on the rail, taking back. It's very rare that you can see this happen where a jockey takes that much hold of a horse, swings to the outside. Those were per instruction from Barkley Tag. I didn't like it, but he got caught down on the inside in his previous race. It cost him the win, so he said, whatever you do, get him to the outside. He didn't just win, he won with authority, Greg.
Just like from the same connection, Saratoga Stable and Barkley Tag and Funny Side, he's a New York bred as well. Showed his talent winning the Champagne as a 2-year-old and proved he's the real deal in his 3-year-old campaign as well with this victory. 'Tis the Law, definitely. He's at the top of a lot of lists for people keeping their eyes on this Derby picture.
Yeah, and he didn't just win. He wins with authority and looking for more ground. I love the way that he strides, his big long stride, and when his rider asks him, he responds to it. And like I said, that move down the backside, that's something that you don't see very often. Usually if you take a hold of a young 3-year-old that hard, take them out of it, it'll break their heart. They're like, what? I'm out here to run. Why are you pulling me out of the race? And it's like he listened to him, and he learned a lesson that day, that horse. So it was an impressive move to me, how he responded to it and the way he ran through the stretch.
Outside of the Bob Baffert runners, Nadal, Authentic, and now Charlatan, who we're waiting to see in stakes action for the first time, who's a perfect 2 for 2, but ultra impressive. He's the horse who really has asserted himself on this road to the Derby.
I mean, I'm going to reserve my right to pick when it's after they draw for the Kentucky Derby, when we get to the Kentucky Derby, and we've got some more preps to get to before that's going to happen. So I do reserve that right, and I reserve the right to get to enjoy it too.
Well, we hope we get there. Again, an announcement coming up this week from Churchill Downs if, in fact, the Kentucky Derby will be run on schedule, whether they are considering postponing. We're going to hopefully find that out before our next show, which comes on Friday, 1:30 Eastern Time. Again, that'll be on Fox Sports 1. We're on Friday, Saturday, Sunday on Fox Sports 1 this upcoming week. Strong Flag takes the Nightcap at Oaklawn Park, returns $10 for the win, Steve Asmussen, Ricardo Santana Jr., and a daughter of strong mandate who was a former hopeful winner. Back as a 2-year-old, gets the win to close out the card. Had a fun weekend covering the races with you, and going to be back on Friday. We'll do it all again.
Yeah, we got to do the only show in town.
All right, we'll see you on Friday, Saturday, Sunday again on Fox Sports 1. In the Damon Runyon, our feature race from Aqueduct this afternoon. Dream bigger. Getting the job done. 2-win day for Junior Alvarado and Rudy Rodriguez. This horse has now won 3 stakes races already, all against New York bred competition. Son of Mission Impossible. He has been talented early in his career. We'll see you on Friday, 1:30 Eastern on FS1.